It's a gray day in southern Ontario as the Argos come home to paint the town red with the Stampeders. This is the CFL on CBC in HD.
Football's a lot like life. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down.
Each and every guy has a role on the team.
If we win together, we win together. If we lose together.
It's all about winning and winning championships.
Tempers are going to flare. There's going to be a lot of passion. Whoever handles the distractions best will come out on top.
The roof is closed on this inclement day outside the Rogers Centre in Toronto as the Argos look for payback tonight in the rematch of their home-and-home series with the Stampeders. Calgary, with a one-sided win at home last week, comes to the Rogers Centre where they haven't beaten the Argos in 5 straight games now. The Argos have home field for all but one of their remaining 5 games and need to make good with that favorable schedule here tonight. Good evening, I'm Mark Lee, along with the big man, Chris Walby. Welcome to the CFL on CBC. Well, Chris, if the Argos are going to make good with this favorable home field advantage here tonight, they've got to start by scoring some points on offense now that they're getting some continuity back.
Well, I think continuity is the key, or rather the lack of continuity in the Argos case. The fact is, this is a team that's missed multiple games on the offensive line, which is crucial. At the receiving crew, which is crucial. Running backs haven't played every game. I mean, your star player, Damon Allen, has been out for 5 games with a broken finger. There is a silver lining, though. They're getting people back. They're getting healthy. And this is exactly the time of year you want to build continuity going into the playoffs. Now, I think this is a positive for this team. I expect bigger things out of Damon Allen. I didn't think he had a great game last week. 172 yards, not a peak performance by him in any means or manner.
Conversely, we look at the unbalanced attack that you mentioned, and it's Arlen Bruce and nobody else. Last week, Tony Miles had 1 catch for just 11 yards. Now, the Stampeder offense, on the other hand, has been playing like a symphony for the past 6 weeks.
Oh, you like that. You know, you've got your strings of receivers running downfield making plays. You've got your percussion, Joffrey Reynolds, bashing through the line. And, of course, this whole team is playing with wood, ready to get after these Argonauts. We saw a little pregame tiff. We're going to see if that carries on to the football field this afternoon.
Henry Burris can run, he can throw, he's got the receiving core, he's got the running backs in Joffrey Reynolds and Wes Cates. All that in mind, how about your Rona game notes? Well,
let's take a look. We're going to start with Calgary. And obviously in Calgary, offensively, it's pick your poison. You know what? Is it the receivers? Copeland, Nick Lewis getting the ball. They can all hurt you. Henry Burris can run with the ball. Anybody on that offense can get it done. On defense, you got to keep Grandpa guessing. Last week, 172 yards passing by Damon Allen. That is a season low going back to 2004. They do a good job of mixing it up there, not giving away their coverage. On the other side, for Toronto offensively, hey, go long or go home. Up until the 4th quarter, Brian Crawford had the longest reception of 19 yards. You got to get these defensive backs to turn their hips and run with the receivers. And on defense, reduce Reynolds. They did a good job of holding Reynolds up to 86 yards rushing last week, but they gave up a 62-yard pass and run that set up one of Reynolds' 2 touchdowns. Reduce Reynolds, you got a chance to win the game.
Thank you, Chris. And as we come inside the Rogers Centre, big crowd, fashionably late on this Saturday evening in Toronto. Tom Higgins and the Calgary Stampeders have won 6 of their past 7 games, and they are the first team to clinch a playoff berth in the CFL. Pinball Clemens Argos, 5-game winning streak snapped last week in Calgary, and Pinball saying it was hard to tell a 5-0 team on that streak that they needed to improve, but they learned a lesson last week. Sandro DeAngelis kicks it off And it's Bashar Livingston at his 10-yard line. Field position a problem for the Argos last week. And now Livingston gets a break and a seam down the sideline. There's nobody there. He's on his way. Touchdown. But flags are down. 3 flags back at the Calgary 40.
And all thrown in succession, Mark, by 3 officials there, which is going to go against the Argonauts, but excellent field position to start the opening drive for this Argo offense.
Damon Allen had complained last week that he didn't get the ball in favorable field position all game.
On the return, holding, Toronto number 52, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And Ray Fontaine takes a holding call, and Chris, penalties were a problem for the Argo special teams last week as well.
Well, last week they got the penalties, and it pushed the Argo offensive start underneath the shadows of their own goalpost, as we see right there. Got the good hands in there tugging on the outside, and the ref throws a flag.
Nevertheless, the touchdown called back, but Damon Allen and the Argos with great field position. And they hand off to Arlen Bruce on a reverse around, gets some good blocks, and then J.R. Ruffin fends off Tony Miles to make the tackle for the Calgary Stampeders. Offense was the weak link for the Argos in their repertoire last week against Calgary. The Argos are second last in points scored, yards, and passing, and Damon Allen has been told by his head coach to heed the call and get something going in the final 6 weeks of this season offensively. And Allen will go to a no-huddle offense here on their first offensive series. 2nd down and 6. A completion to Ricky Williams out of the backfield, and he's tackled right near the first down marker at the 41-yard line. Let's set that Argo starting offense, Chris.
Well, I like the way they're utilizing the backs and the reverse of the Bruce. It's a good offense. They need to get back on track. Damon Allen is the key at quarterback. He's got to mix it up and go deep today and challenge the secondary of the Stampeders. This is a receiving crew that disturbs me. Arlen Bruce is the only guy catching the ball. Tony Miles needs a big game.
First down, play action, and a bootleg from Damon Allen. And he is pulled out of bounds by Kobe Reinhardt. And he'll have a gain of 5, maybe 6 on the play.
And we'll go back to that offensive line to finish the Argo offense. Chad Folk and David Costa are the only 2 linemen to play every game this season. We've talked about the injuries. It does hurt the continuity of this offensive line.
The big Argo center in a good-looking opening drive. 2nd down, 4 yards to go. Allen, short drop. Now he calls a quarterback draw, and running more often than we've seen all season, and he'll have another Toronto first down.
Mark, last week, Damon Allen sat in the pocket, and that allowed the defensive ends of the Stampeders to have a heyday, specifically Raheem Abdullah, number 52, who really got around the tackles and put some pressure on Damon Allen. I think he needs to do this. Take the ball. If you got an opening in the middle, take off. If you get to the side, take off. Stretch that defense.
First down, Argos. 2 backs. They'll block. Allen to pass. Looking downfield. Man open. R.J. Soward out of his hands. He had it and dropped it. R.J. Soward, who has all of 9 catches this year, had a chance there to score on the first drive.
Well, they're looking for consistency. You wonder sometimes, what does R.J. Soward bring to this offense? He's got all the speed in the world. He gets open. He runs by the coverage. Just a seam route straight down. But look at this. He's got his hands on it. You've got to come up with the catch. These are the plays that will give life to your offense.
Soward's had a tough year. Only 9 catches, as I mentioned. Struggling with abdominal problems all season. Play action now in the flats, and Ricky Williams can't catch up to the pass from Damon Allen. 3rd down, Toronto.
30 yards on Jake.
Well,
30.
the Stampeder defense, and it's led by Abdullah. What a game last week. 4 tackles, a sack all around Damon Allen all afternoon. And I tell you, this is a great linebacking crew, and it doesn't matter who they put in. This time, Khalid Abdullah is in for John Grace, but Brian Clark is the leader of this group. And a secondary, and this might be the defensive player of the year too, Kobe Reinhardt at that short side corner, Mark, having an outstanding year.
Terrific defense indeed, as Noel Prefontaine will attempt a 37-yard field goal from the left hash marks. The kick is up and good. Prefontaine with his 22nd field goal of the season, and the Argos score first at home. CBC Sports and Sony Canada are proud to bring you today's game in high definition from the stadium to your living room. Sony brings you the full power of HD. 3-0 Argos on the 37-yard field goal by Noel Prefontaine. Argos with the fewest field goals kicked so far in the CFL. Another function of their lackluster offense as Prefontaine kicks it off. It's J.R. Ruffin returning for Calgary. He's brought one back this year, and he's going nowhere there as David Hewson, back in the lineup on special teams, makes the tackle for the Argos. Henry Burris, 6 weeks to the playoffs, and his Stampeder offense has hit its full stride. Number 1 in the CFL in average carries, 6.8 yards. Number 1 in average pass, 8.7. And this Stampeder offense has won 6 of its last 7 games in combination with the defense and special teams. Up against a defense led by Rich Stubler, though, that confuses the best of veteran quarterbacks. In the shotgun, Burris looking to the wide side, and Kenyon Rambo is open, steps out of bounds, close to a first down. Byron Parker, the cornerback, back in the lineup after missing last week with an injured shoulder, but there's a flag down after the play.
Mark, I like the way that Henry Burris and the Stampeder offense opened up. 5 receiver, 1 back set.
Unnecessary roughness. Toronto number 20. 15 yards added on to the end of the play. First down.
But I like the fact that they had the 5 receiver, 1 back, because what it does is he believes every time they line up in that formation that they're going to get man coverage. Exactly what he got. He got the ball to the receiver. Nice job of throwing it long. There's Rambo with the first catch.
I don't know about that call, though. He just pushed him. First down. Hand off to Joffrey Reynolds, and he's swallowed right at the line of scrimmage as Jonathan Brown slashes down from his end position for Toronto.
Well, this is a good offense, and it is led by Henry Burris. But do not underestimate the potential of Joffrey Reynolds, who now is second in rushing behind Charles Roberts, who had some yards last night. The receiving crew, and it's a good one. Elijah Thurman, Rambo, Lewis, and Copeland can all make it happen. And this is a good offensive line, all Canadian, and led by the 13-year veteran McNeil at left guard.
Elijah Thurman alone on the short side against Younger, but it's a dump pass across the middle to Nick Lewis. He makes the catch on 2nd and 8, and will have a first down and make the signal himself before the officials do.
Well, they're fired up. You know that. This is the big thing. It was mentioned already. They haven't won here in the last 5 games at home versus these Argonauts, so they want to come out and make a statement early.
And last week, no passing touchdowns for the Stampeder offense for the first time in 7 weeks. And no coincidence against the stingiest pass defense in the league. Ron Johnson now into the game at receiver. 5 receivers set for Calgary on first down, and they'll run. And Joffrey Reynolds is stuffed. Michael Fletcher sealing from the linebacker position right near the line of scrimmage.
Well, Mike Fletcher, his 10th game back, but this is a good Argo defense, and it's led by Jonathan Brown. But how about the hustle of Eric England last week, tracking down the receiver? And then, of course, a good linebacking crew. Mike O'Shea just gets younger every year, and Fletcher, the energizer of the defense. And this is a good secondary, and they're really happy to have Byron Parker back at that cornerback position. Hey, 6 games, he's got 5 interceptions, 3 for touchdowns.
Another 2nd and long, 2nd and 9 situation for the Stampeders. Burris under pressure, now rolling, looking downfield, a crossing route complete to Nick Lewis. Lewis tackled by Kenny Wheaton, but he thought he landed on the defender and could still run.
Well, heads up by Nick Lewis. I agree with you, Mark. I think that he thought that he came down on the tackler. Therefore, his body did not make contact with the turf. Let's take another look at that. Henry Burris, great athleticism, getting away from the pressure, and he comes down. He actually lands.
He did land on the defender.
You know what? Heads up. Didn't get the call from the official, but he was free to go.
And it's very close to a first down, so there will be a measurement. Nick Lewis nursing a sore shoulder he injured 2 weeks ago against the Bombers, and last week rotated with Ron Johnson.
Well, and only 2 catches last week. Very Not the numbers that Nick Lewis wants. He loves to. He's very flamboyant. And I think if you get a guy like that in the game early, good things happen for your offense.
Nick Lewis coming into this game just 52 yards shy of his 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard receiving season in his first 3 years in this league. So it is a first down for the Stampeders. Ball at the 35 of Toronto. 4 receivers to the wide side, Thurman to the short side, and a flag thrown right at the snap. The line judge, Ben Major, with the flag.
They definitely had time on the clock, so.
Procedure. Calgary number 66. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Well, that's the left tackle, Alexander Gauthier, the 5th-year veteran out of Laval. One of those unforgivable penalties because you know the snap count. There's no excuse for jumping offside. You can't pop up early. A lot of times they're looking at the defender trying to get a quick start on those quick ends of the Argonauts, but stay within the snap count.
Move the ball back 5 yards. First down repeated. 15 to go. Handoff up the middle to Joffrey Reynolds. He busts a tackle from Michael O'Shea and then is swarmed by the rest of the Argo defense. But an example of how hard he is to bring down when he beats the big man like Mike O'Shea.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. I mean, this is a guy that averages 6.5 yards per carry against the Argos. Last week, I thought Toronto's defense, that has a reputation about being soft against the run, really did a wonderful job of stopping Reynolds, limiting it to him 86 yards, basically 5 yards a carry. And right again, you see these guys coming up making big hits just at the line of scrimmage.
And in terms of the big rushing race, Reynolds coming into this game now 49 yards behind Winnipeg's Charles Roberts. Roberts was 69 yards on the ground in a touchdown last night in a losing cause at Montreal. Backside screen to Reynolds from Burris, breaks a tackle and gets to the 30-yard line. And Antonios Bonner makes the tackle for Toronto, shy of the first down.
And you just talked about the strength of Joffrey Reynolds. He runs through the arm tackle of one of the better tacklers, Mike O'Shea. Just going to be a little screen pass. They're expecting the blitz, a little bit of pressure. Let him come up, dump the ball off, and Reynolds busts through.
Field goal situation from the 38 for Sandro DeAngelis, who was 6 for 6 last week and looked like the instigator in the pregame brawl or near brawl with the Argos. And let's see how his nerves are here. DeAngelis, cool as a cucumber, splits the uprights from 38 and still has words with the Argos here at the Rogers Center in Toronto. Sandro DeAngelis now with his 49th field goal, just 10 from the league record held by Dave Ridgway. And this was the scene about 2 hours to kickoff here at Rogers Center as DeAngelis was involved with Jonathan Brown, and Brown had to be restrained. And then Mike O'Shea came in, and for a moment there looked like it might get ugly.
This all stemmed from the game last week in Calgary. DeAngelis said some things to the Argonaut sideline, and they carried over. That's one of the benefits of back-to-back, because you know you got to see him right away.
And O'Shea was heard to say, "You're not a pro yet. It's your second-year kicker." He said, "You watch, I'll show you." And he hit from 38 in his first field goal. Here's Keith Stokes now with the return, looking for a seam, and he's cut down from behind. It's Ron Johnson, the rookie, who made this team because of his special team speed and fury. And it's a short gain of about 5 on the return.
Well, one of the things that we talked about, Calgary's got great special teams, and they got great cover guys. And you want to have guys that have speed, but a lot of times you get guys that have speed, but they don't want to tackle. They don't like putting their helmet in there. They don't want to get involved in it. Calgary has found some great guys led by Wes Cates, who leads their team in special team tackles, who's a running back who's making things happen down there.
I know you want to talk about Damon Allen. He had just 172 yards passing last week, 1 pick, 1 touchdown, and below average for him. In a double tight end formation to start this series. Play action. Allen throwing deep downfield for Arlen Bruce. No! He had it, then dropped it. And Kobe Reinhart, who's having a terrific year on the short corner, helped break it up with some help from Jermaine Chapman.
Exactly what you got to do if you're the Argos. You want to go deep. Challenge the secondary of the Stampeders. This is a nice job. I mean, the ball is there. Arlen Bruce gets his hands on it, But as you say, Colby Reinhart, I thought Colby Reinhart did a really nice job of getting his hands in there, just not allowing Arlen Bruce to secure this ball. He's got it. Watch, he has it. And just the last grab by Reinhart doesn't allow him to come up with that catch.
You think both Bruce and Soward should have had those catches?
Bruce, I'll forgive. Soward's got to have that one.
Second down. Pressure, screen pass, and incomplete as Jeff Johnson could only get one hand on it. And so it's 2 and out for this struggling Argo offense.
Well, after they start with a 6-play drive and their opening drive to let the field goal, they get pressure this time. They're just going to bring 4 guys, and they're from the outside, and you're not sure which guys are going to come. They drop Raheem Abdullah into the linebacking spot. They bring the defensive backs from the outside. I thought it was a good call. Just couldn't complete the pass to Jeff Johnson.
So the CFL's #1 punter, Noel Prefontaine, with an average of 46.5, gets set to deliver this punt to Marcus Howell, the 31-year-old veteran who extended his contract to 2008 this week. Howell now, the Canadian, straight upfield quickly, and he's hammered just before he gets to the 50-yard line. Right back to play. Calgary, first down at the 48. A flag down as Joffrey Reynolds bounces outside. Cliff Ivory coming up to seal on the play.
The flag's thrown on both sidelines, far and near. Looked initially like it was offside by the receiver. I think that's what they're going to call.
And Chris, Jeff Keeping is hobbling his way off the field.
Jeff Keeping.
Offside. Calgary number 84. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Well, it was Elijah Thurman who jumped the gun, the snap count, if you would. Jeff Keeping, as you say, who has really become a valuable member, not only on defense at the nose tackle, but playing fullback some in the short yardage situations.
And so Noah Cantor will come in to sub for Keeping. Cantor, of course, coming out of retirement just to be the weekend warrior, flying in here yesterday. Just practices the day before with his team and plays on weekends. Burris with time, throwing downfield. It's complete to Jermaine Copeland, and he stays on his feet after being rocked by Cliff Ivory and Kenny Wheaton. What a great catch and concentration in the biggest offensive gain of this opening quarter.
And once again, you see downfield, a lot of talk after the play. Good protection, bringing Bonner on the blitz, gives Burris the time to look downfield. But look, double coverage, high and low. Copeland climbs the ladder, nice grab, good concentration to hold on to that ball on a big play for the Stamps offense.
32-yard catch for Copeland, on pace for his 4th consecutive 1,000-yard receiving season. Stamps threatening again, play action now, and Burris throwing to the short side. Wide open was Wes Cates, and he couldn't hold on. And there's a flag in the offensive backfield. It's a holding call against Calgary.
Well, it'll be Alexander Gauthier, who jumped the snap count earlier. Got a penalty for illegal procedure. This time he's working against Eric England. And he gets his hands underneath him.
Calgary number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
The second penalty in the game taken by Gauthier.
Oh, he's right here. When you take a look, if we run this play, working against Eric England, nice arm bar, and gets underneath the offensive lineman as he turns the corner. Gauthier has nothing to do, but all he can do is try and get his other hand on the jersey, and that's why the flag is thrown.
Second down, or rather 1st and 20. Check that. Cates out, Johnson in, 5 receivers set. Here's the bubble hitch to Kenyon Ramble. Tries to get a block, and he does squirt free. The Argos had him back at the 40, and the second effort will move the ball another 5 yards downfield back near the original line of scrimmage for a gain of 10 yards.
Well, quick hitch pass and getting the other receivers downfield. Now, we talked about the size of the Stampeders receivers, and one of the things they like to do is get the ball to the Ramble. In this case, you can see Copeland and company downfield to make blocks. Now, Ivory didn't make the play, but he slowed him up enough to allow the rest of the defenders to come down and bring him down short.
Henry Burris was saying that he's got some of the best blocking receivers in the league, and you need that against defenses like Toronto that give you the short stuff. Bunch formation now, play action. Burris steps up under pressure, throws across the middle of the field, complete to Nick Lewis for a big first down for the Stampeders. And Lewis already with some style. An 18-yard pass and run play to Nick Lewis. And they'll move the sticks again. The Stampeders now into the red zone.
They're running the bunch formation to the right side of the field. He initially rolls behind that line and scrambles back to the middle and just buys himself the extra time to find the receiver coming across the middle. Nice job of having great vision downfield. Now take a look at the skirmish. This time's Kantner involved with Comiskey to center. That's a battle, Mark, we might want to watch all game.
Well, they're hot under the collar tonight, these two teams, in this rematch, the home and home series. First down, Stampeders, and they go to the flat pass, and Joffrey Reynolds is hammered. Great fill by Cliff Ivory, the Argo halfback, on the boundary.
Well, Clifford Ivory might be one of the best tackling players from the secondary, and he comes up and just lays a lick on Joffrey Reynolds. Just a swing pass, get him out in open space. If he can make the defender miss a tackle, he can go for some yardage, but Clifford Ivory having none of that. Beautiful form tackle, head right where it needs to be, wrapping up and taking the legs out from the powerful Joffrey Reynolds.
Loss on the play, 2nd and 15 now. Burris perfect through the air. Elijah Thurman all by himself on the short side, and flags down. Play whistle dead.
Well, once again, they're going to decide whether it's a procedure.
Procedure.
Which it is.
Calgary number 50. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
And that's Jay McNeil. We've seen his partner in crime, Alexander Goche, the left tackle. This time it is the left guard, and he's right up in there. You're going to see him just take a little bit of a movement. He's standing right in front of Joffrey Reynolds. Little overeager.
The Stamps were originally at the 17 of Toronto. Now they're back across the 26. 2nd and 20. 6 receiver set now for Calgary, and again play is whistled dead, and it looks like it might be a time count violation this time.
Well, there's no time left on the clock.
Time count violation. Calgary number 1. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Boy, this is inexcusable for an offense to be in the red zone, to be moving backwards with penalties.
With penalties. And you got 20 seconds. What you have to do now is you got to get your offensive line and receivers up to the line quicker. You can't just walk there slowly. Give yourself a chance if you have to audible to be able to have the option.
The Stamp team has struggled in the red zone, scoring on less than half of its chances with touchdowns. 6 receivers set. Burris across the middle, and a drop ball. Ron Johnson had it again and dropped it. We've seen a lot of drops on both teams here tonight in this opening quarter.
Well, Henry Burris sat back there and found the receiver, and Ron Johnson breaks it back into the middle, and he breaks it. This would have been his first catch of the season, and he can't believe it because it hit him right where it had to, right in the hands. As you say, after taking some penalties, they push themselves back, and they got to bring on the machine.
This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt, a chip shot for DeAngelis, who was 6 for 6 last week, many of them from 49 and further. DeAngelis' kick is up and hits the uprights. No good. His first miss in 8 attempts in the past 2 games. Hits the uprights from 39. Sandro DeAngelis denied his 50th field goal of the season. First one he's missed in 8 in the last 2 games with Toronto, and he had an 11 field goal streak going there, Chris, as we look at the Argo training staff looking at the right knee of Jeff Keeping. He took his brace off. Poor guy has been plagued with knee injuries over the last 2 years. Hand off to Ricky Williams, and the Argos show the reverse to Arlen Bruce, but Kobe Reinhardt wasn't buying the fake, and the Stampeder defense strung that play out.
Well, Kobe Reinhardt comes up and does a nice job from the corner position. But you can tell right now that Brian Clark is assigned to 27. So Brian Clark is going to flow with Ricky Williams, and he sees a little swing pass, and he's over there. The difference with this offense so far, though, Mark, last week, first 11 plays out of 15 were all Ricky Williams. They're mixing it up today.
And Ricky Williams really misses Jeff Keeping on offense as well, because they've used him as a fullback, a big blocker. 2nd down and 11. Allen throwing, intercepted. Krantz Clemens coming in as the dime back in that second and long situation. Gets his first interception of the season.
Well, the ball just took off on Damon Allen. He had exactly what he wanted. They sit back in that zone. He sees Keith Stokes sitting there. He just overthrows it. Goes off the fingertips of Keith Stokes. And as you say, Krantz Clemens, number 26, with his first pick, coming up and initially going to make the tackle on Keith Stokes, and finds himself the recipient of an errant throw.
Chris, I'm going to say right now the Argo receivers are letting Damon Allen down. That should have been caught too. That's 3 catchable balls. One for sure would have been a touchdown by R.J. Soward. And now the Stamps with that bunch formation running on first down. Joffrey Reynolds busting his way upfield across the 20-yard line. Orlando Steinauer, the safety, making the tackle on the final play of the opening quarter. A first quarter dominated by the Kickers here at the Rogers Center in Toronto. Stampeders his game. Two brilliant coordinators matching minds again this week. Orlando Steinauer was telling me yesterday, Chris, that what separates Steve Barato from other offensive coordinators in this league is that he says he thinks like a defensive coordinator. And then talking about Rich Stuber, he said he teaches his defensive players to think like offensive players. A real chess match out there. And when you've got veterans like Stuber has, they can play that complicated match coverage that befuddles so many veteran quarterbacks. And this Argo defense has been a bend don't break defense. Let's see what they do now as Calgary threatens in the Argo red zone. They bring the blitz. Burris pumps once, can't find a receiver. He's in trouble, and the Argos have got him. Chuck Winters and Jonathan Brown get the Stampeder quarterback.
Well, that sack goes to the secondary of the Argonauts. Man coverage. They have got those guys wrapped up. They're all over the receivers. I mean, look at the initial time. Henry Burris has the opportunity to pump fake a couple of times, but they're not getting anybody open. And as a result, finally, Chuck Winters, Jonathan Brown wrap them up for a sack.
Team leading 7th sack. And DeAngelis now from 32 yards straight down the middle of the field. His third attempt. DeAngelis hammers this one, and he splits the uprights. Sandro DeAngelis with a league-leading 50th field goal of the season, 9 now from the record held by Dave Ridgway.
Well, he's 4 away from the club record held by Mark McLaughlin, which is 54.
And he was saying last week that about 12 years ago, back when he was just a kid, he got a chance to meet Mark McLaughlin at one of those punt, pass, and kick competitions. And little did he think or know that a decade later he'd be challenging that great kicker's Calgary record.
Well, you got to love a guy that you know, as long as you get on the other side of center, that you got an opportunity to get some points. If we take a look at the first quarter stats, I mean, basically it's all Calgary right now. And actually Toronto very fortunate to open the second quarter only being down by 3. The one turnover just happened by the Argonauts, by the interception by Damon Allen. You know, the big thing is Henry Burris is 8 for 9. He's having a good day throwing the football. And then Ron Johnson didn't drop that ball. He'd be perfect. On the other side, though, Damon Allen only 1 for 6 for 6 yards in interception. Talked about last week, Mark, 172 yards. Lowest total in over 2 years. He's got to pick that game up.
I think there have been 5 key drops in this game.
Yes.
Argos had R.J. Soward and what looked like a sure touchdown, drop one in the end zone. Bruce should have had that. I know he was in coverage. And then Stokes letting the one go through his hands and intercepted by Krantz Clemens. Wes Cates and Ron Johnson both with drops for Calgary. Here's Keith Stokes now from the 16. He's got some blocks, tries to get outside, and Khalid Abdullah makes the tackle on special teams, returning to the Calgary lineup here tonight after missing last week's game with a hamstring injury. Right now, let's go to the sidelines, and here's Brendan.
Well, Mark, the holiest month on the Muslim calendar is Ramadan. It began last Friday. It's been particularly challenging for Khalid and two of his other teammates because it's meant they'd have to fast from sunrise to sundown. No food, no water. And there is Raheem Abdullah drinking and eating just after sunset tonight in Toronto. But he says maybe even more challenging than the physical aspects of Ramadan, the spiritual ones, because what it means is Muslims are supposed to have pure thoughts, do good deeds. Not easy when you're a football player.
Arlen Bruce makes the catch, heads upfield. He'll be a couple shy of the first down. And Brenda, further to what the Abdullah brothers are going through for the next month, I mean, it's a challenge for anyone, any normal person to go 12 hours without food and water, let alone a pro athlete. Inside this dome here tonight, it's hot. It's going to be close and humid. And he's already begun to replenish his body with, you saw him eating the banana and with fluids. But you have to be in top shape to be able to do that.
Well, they say a lot of times they'll wake up during the night and replenish their body with fluids and food because, as you say, when it's warm, it's tough.
Short yardage situation for Toronto now. 2nd and about 2. And Michael Bishop is in at quarterback on these short yardage situations. And he's rolling. He's going to throw on 2nd and 2. He's got the big arm across midfield, and it's incomplete. Throwing it in behind Arlen Bruce. So the Argos, there's a late flag after the play.
Well, this is going to go against Wes Lysak, who comes in as the dime back. He comes in at the spot, and what he does after the play, he gets goaded. He gets into a shoving match with the Argo receiver and ends up pushing him, and the Argo receiver goes down.
Foul, unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 31. That is a dead ball foul. 15-yard penalty from the point of last scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
Is that what you call a bad penalty?
Well, I mean, you know that you've basically stopped them a short yardage right now. They'd have to gamble on 3rd down if they were to try it. And what happens? After the play, it's not even relevant to the play. Wes Lysak takes a costly penalty. He gives a fresh set of downs to Argos.
It is indeed first down. Toronto at the 48. Pitch out. Ricky Williams with some speed. Gets some blocks and puts his head down as he crosses the 45-yard line. Williams looked pretty good running downhill last week against Calgary in his first game back after missing 8 weeks with that broken arm. The wait is over. Hockey Night in Canada gets underway with an action-packed doubleheader on Thursday night in Eastern Canada. The first match has Ottawa hosting the Mighty Leafs, while Western Canada sees Vancouver battle the Red Wings. Game 2 is a Battle of Alberta as the Oilers take on the Flames at home. Don't miss the new action. Hockey Night in Canada, Thursday at 7 on CBC. 2nd down. Allen under pressure. He's got time. Now he finds a receiver wide open in midfield. It's Keith Stokes. And a big first down for the Argos.
That's a great job by this offensive line to suck it up and allow Damon Allen the extra time. He steps away from some initial pressure and buys more time. But the nice thing is they're sitting in a drop. They're going to draw it back into a zone coverage. Keith Stokes sees this. Look at him in the middle of your screen right there, behind the coverage of the linebackers and in front of the secondary. It's a nice job by Damon Allen. Little initial pressure. He shifts over to his right. Gets a nice throwing lane.
Ooh.
Whoa, very fortunate. It looks like Terrence Patrick almost takes the left knee out from Damon Allen.
Allen was limping after the hit. Big first down, 22-yard gain. Allen throwing to the end zone. Jump ball. It's intercepted. Trey Young comes up with the football and goes out of touch at the back of the end zone. The 2nd pick thrown by Damon Allen here tonight, and the 2nd interception of the season for the tough safety of the Stampeders. The Argos turn it over again with a chance to score.
Best DBs in the league right here, right now.
Trey Young with the 2nd Stampeder interception of this first half.
Well, as we take a look at this, they're going to bring a 4-man rush. The thing that bothers me about this offensive play is this is a misplay by R.J. Sauer and Livingston. Freeze it right there, guys. Look at here. This is Livingston. Now, he comes in here, and look at this. There's R.J. Sauer. Now, he should be running this way and taking all of these guys out of the play. As a result of running inside, you're bringing all the defenders in there. And who makes the play? The guy that's initially covering Livingston. Livingston should go to the middle of the field. Do not be 2 receivers in the same corner of the end zone.
Looked like one of those plays, everybody go down near the light post and jump for the ball. Confusion there. Handoff, Joffrey Reynolds, and Kenny Wheaton is right there to make the tackle. This Argo linebacking core, with support from its secondary, tough to run against here tonight. Joffrey Reynolds 1 week ago was the man who really opened this game up in this 62-yard pass and run play as he beat 2 or 3 Argo tacklers, headed downfield, and it was a great pursuit on the play as Eric England made the tackle for the Argos, but Joffrey Reynolds through the air and on the ground, and making a strong case for most outstanding player. Here's a play action option, and Kenny Wheaton again filling from the halfback position knocked Burris right out of his shoes.
And a late flag mark after the contact, but the Argo defense strung that out, and they took the pitch man, and that allowed Wheaton to come and lay the hit on Damon Allen, because, or on Burris as a matter of fact, because there was nobody to pitch the ball.
Offside pass, Calgary number 1. We will turn the ball to the point of origin of the offside pass, and it becomes 3rd down.
Well, an offside as you take a look, as he's just going to roll down. And as he's going down, he just pitches the ball. And it's almost like a fumble. An offside pass. That'll be a loss of the down as well with the penalty, and force a 3rd down situation.
Just across the line of scrimmage with that illegal offside pass, and so a 3rd down situation. 3rd and 1 with Burke Dales, the number 2 punter in the league, right behind Prefontaine, and a beauty. Good hang time, a high deep spiral to Bashar Livingston at his 27. Livingston going to the wide side, gets some good blocks. Here we go. He's got a corridor. Bashar Livingston and down the sideline. And he's turned and thrown and hogtied by Khalid Abdullah, and flags fly near the Argo bench. But for the 2nd time tonight, Bashar Livingston lights up the night on the kick return. Bashar Livingston getting some work on his hamstring after a 40-yard punt return and some extra yardage on the penalty.
Well, I mean, you got to get the corner, and you got a guy with this kind of speed, and he does get this. Take a look at this, guys. Now, Frieza right here. You're going to see right there, that's Fletcher, Michael Fletcher. Now he seals the inside, and that allows Bashar Livingston to get to the outside. Burke Dales almost takes his head off. It looks like a little bit of a face mask right there, a definite face mask by the punter. They didn't call that. They called the roughing on Khalid Abdullah, 42 after this. You see 42 coming in there, and it's the way he slammed Livingston down.
The old wrestling suplex move. Handoff, Ricky Williams, and Williams lost his momentum right at the line of scrimmage, and he stopped. Let's have a look at that wrestling move by Khalid Abdullah.
Well, I mean, this is a contact game, and I mean, when you're chasing guys, that's a face. That's a penalty.
Now watch this.
They missed that one, but here you see Khalid, and he's just outside your screen. He's just going to slam him down. I don't know about that, to be honest with you. You're trying to bring an elusive running back, a guy that can break tackles and take it all the way. You want to secure him. Don't throw the flag. Let him play football.
Took 5 yards off that 40-yard return, marked it back near the face mask, make it 35. 2nd and long, dump pass. Jeff Johnson has this one across the middle, and he'll be well short of the 1st down as Brian Clark and Raheem Abdullah combined to stop the Argo fullback out of York.
Well, Raheem Abdullah, just, you know, he had a monster game last week with 4 tackles and a sack. He was all over the place. And once again, I mean, here he is. That's 53. Now watch him. Spin move, working against the offensive line. Look at the hustle. And Mark, you mentioned it. He's a guy that hasn't consumed any water. Had a couple of bananas just for potassium. That's it.
Yes, adhering to the strict tenets of his Muslim faith during Ramadan. This field goal attempt from the 29, 28-29, and it's good by Prefontaine. And it's a kicker's game here tonight.
For the BC.
Back at the Rogers Center here in Toronto, a 6-6 football game. Reminder, Warrior of the Game, we want you to log on to cbc.ca/CFL during the second half and let us know who you think will be the Warrior of the Game, who plays for heart, grit. Warrior of the Game is brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra.
There are some good candidates. I know they're panning on the kickers, but you can't give the kickers that yet. No. When you go 6 for 6, I'll look at it.
Prefontaine was lobbying yesterday at practice looking for the big award at the end of the year. Be one of your Warriors. Here's J.R. Ruffin now. And he's tackled as David Hewson again, the rookie, back in the lineup for special teams duty out of University of Manitoba, and 2 big special teams tackles for him in this first half.
Well, you've also seen the returns by Livingston and the blocks by his teammates to spring him. I mean, one obviously the opening kickoff for a touchdown, negated by a penalty, but great field position in contrast to last week when they started inside their 10 for majority of the football game. They're getting good field position for this offense today.
Well, the Stamps owned special teams last week, 237 yards on returns by Howell and Ruffin. And tonight the Argos have the upper hand. Here's a bunch formation for Calgary on first down, and they'll run the ball. And Joffrey Reynolds is tackled by Jonathan Brown as he goes up the gut, and the Argos have been steadfast against the run tonight.
Well, they're going to run that bunch, and what they're doing, the bunch formation is basically 3 receivers to the wide side, and they're going to run backside with Joffrey Reynolds, and hopefully with the bunch they'll pull the linebackers out of the space and allow Reynolds to try and take advantage of that space. But Jonathan Brown and the rest of his defensive line mates are doing a nice job of getting Reynolds before he can get going.
Saw the bunch on the last formation. Now they go 4 and 1. 1 receiver to the short side. That's where Burris is rolling, and he's throwing. A look into Thurman. He's got it. Plus the tackle on Younger, and a big first down on the same play they tried last week. But Burris underthrew his tall receiver, and that was a real mismatch in height there.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They tried to get this last week. You mentioned the height, 6'3" by Thurman. I mean, he's going against Jordan Younger, who's only 5'10". So there's a 5-inch advantage. But just running a little bit of post pattern, he got man coverage. He breaks it into the middle. I mean, the coverage isn't bad. You talked earlier about receivers not helping out their quarterback. Here's an example of a receiver that is helping his quarterback. Nice job of securing the catch and getting a big play for that offense. 3rd CFL season, 13 touchdowns in his career.
Still looking for his first against this Argo defense. On the ground, Joffrey Reynolds this time gets his biggest hole of the game, and he has a first down, a gain of 12, maybe 13 yards on the left side of that offensive line.
And Mark, you mentioned it earlier, talking about the offense coordinator, Steve Barato. That's a nice job by the left guard and left tackle, Gauthier McNeil, to push the defenders outside. Comiskey seals to the inside, and Reynolds hits the hole, but he does a nice job. He doesn't give up on the run, so you may stuff him 6-7 times in a row. They'll keep going.
Barato back to the bunch formation here on first down, and then Joffrey Reynolds negotiating the interior of that Argo defense, and Michael O'Shea, the 36-year-old veteran linebacker, makes the tackle for the Argos.
But great first down production. You're getting 7-8 yards with Joffrey Reynolds. And I mean, they're going to pull the backside, and as they pull the backside, that's Jay McNeil, 50. Now he comes in there and pops not only Kenny Wheaton, but he gets his helmet on. Antonius Bonner, 2 blocks on 1 play. Nice job by the left guard.
And this is what Burris likes. He got 6 yards on first down, 2nd and medium now, and that puts the Argos more in press coverage, more man coverage. And they'll run against it. Joffrey Reynolds up the middle, and he'll be very close to the first down, reaching out, and it looks like he'll have it.
And there's a thing called rhythm, and the rhythm is by the offensive line. As you start to run the ball, you start to establish a little bit of dominance on that O-line. And what happens is when you spread your receivers out, you're pulling everybody out, and you're making those linebackers cover a lot of space. And when you have that, you can run tandem blocks. You can get through on a slip to the linebacker, and they're doing a nice job of getting a helmet on a helmet, a man on a man, if you would, and allowing Reynolds to find the holes.
First down at the Argo 20. Stamps threatening deep in Argo territory again. Play action. Burris in trouble. Eric England with the sack for the Argos. Burris looking for the face mask call, and he won't get it. Eric England, just his second sack of the season. But what a workhorse he's been all year on defense.
Well, he's an inspiration, and they say in practice that it doesn't matter who takes the ball into the end zone. He'll go all the way down and chase them just to make sure. And you're right, Mark. That was a face mask on burst by Eric England. Didn't get called, so Eric England gets his first sack against the Stampeders since 2003.
So a big loss on the play of 10 yards, 2nd and 20. It's the second time the Stamps been in the red zone and then been pushed back by this Argo defense. Blitzing, burst the ball away, incomplete, intended for Elijah Thurman, and he's protesting that Byron Parker interfered with him, and he wants a flag, but again, no nylon on the turf.
Well, interesting, because Elijah Thurman is saying as he tried to come inside, there was contact. But let's look at the pressure. You see they're bringing Fletcher from one side, Bonner from the other. Now watch downfield as he tries to come back in here. You know what? That's not a flag, because the defender he's allowed to protect his ground, much like a charging in basketball. His feet are planted. Thurman ran into him. Good no call.
38-yard attempt now for DeAngelis. Good on 2 of 3 tonight. Hammers this one. It's up and good. Field goal number 51, and Elijah Thurman cooling off. What a treat for the town of Salmon River, Nova Scotia. The ball is away from DeAngelis. A short kickoff to Livingston. Now he reverses his field. No blocks to the short side, and Wes Lysak has him cornered at the 29-yard line.
Well, that's a nice job by Wes Lysak, not getting fooled by the initial reverse by Livingston. He tried to pull everybody into the middle of the field and hoping to break backside, and Lysak stayed in his cover lane, and that's what happens. You stay there, you'll prevent the big return on you.
Damon Allen trying to muster some offense for the Argos, and look at the difference in the completions here. Burris 9 for 12. Damon Allen just 4 for 11 and 2 interceptions in this first half. He has 10 interceptions to just 7 touchdown passes so far this season. Allen, play action, great bootleg fake, gets the ball away to Jeff Johnson. Khalid Abdullah gets an arm on him but can't bring him down until after Jeff Johnson hustles for a first down.
Well, Damon Allen has to do this, and what do I mean? He has to start attacking the side. I love the bootleg, because what it does is it puts that defensive end in a no-win situation. If you're just sitting stationary in the pocket, guys like, you know, the Maxey and Abdullah are just going to pin their ears back and come because they know you're stationary. You go outside and attack the sideline, he has to watch his rush lane.
Gain of 11 by Johnson. First down, Toronto. Allen with a quick release on the hook route to Arlen Bruce. He's surrounded. And Khalid Abdullah is the first to make the tackle. Flags fly after the play as the Stampeders surround the Argo receiver. And more harsh words here tonight in Toronto. We're back in Toronto, and the penalty was to Arlen Bruce for unsportsmanlike conduct. Now it's second and 15.
Well, you know, you get a 5-yard gain, and this is a veteran of your team. Now watch as he slows the ball right up into Brian Clark's face mask. Clark's just getting up. They're going to throw that, so you get a 5-yard gain. Now you push back 10 yards because of the penalty.
Hence, second and 15 for this struggling Argo offense that hasn't scored a meaningful touchdown now in 2 games. I mean, the 2 scored by Bruce late last week occurred when the game was already out of reach. Remember, their last home game, they couldn't score a touchdown at all in an 11-9 win over Hamilton. Second and 15 for Toronto. Another flat pass. Ricky Williams has it and has some speed and some steam, and oh, he lowers the boom on Trey Young, one of the heaviest hitters in the CFL, and there's a flag down as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Andre Talbot does a nice job of wrestling down J.R. Ruffin to allow Ricky Williams to get to the outside. The flag is still in there, but once again, they get a nice play. Do what you have to do. Stay in front of the guy, but you don't have to wrap him up and take him down.
Toronto number 4. That penalty is declined. Third down.
That was a nice play. He got a penalty.
Well, anytime they get something positive, they shoot themselves in the foot by taking a penalty that negates anything good and pushes them back and forces a punting situation. You see Coach Clemens right now, he's going to have a talk. He's talking to England this time, but he's got to get frustrated. Adam Reeder, the offensive coordinator right now, and Paula Police, the quarterback coach, they got to work with these guys and say, you know what, stop hurting us.
Well, they need all the help they can get on this offense, and penalties shooting themselves in the foot. That was a 13-yard gain on the swing pass to Ricky Williams. Would have been within about 2 yards of a first down in midfield. Instead, it's a punt situation. Marcus Howell beats the first man with a big move on Brian Crawford, who claimed he was blocked from behind, but there wasn't much real estate after that on a 49-yard punt. 1:53 until halftime here in Toronto, and Canadian Tire at the half. Elliott in the panel to look at this kickers duel, and some bad blood exchanged right since 2 hours before kickoff between these two teams. And then we go back in the day and profile Wayne Harris, the Hall of Fame middle linebacker for the great Calgary Stampeders of the late 60s and 70s.
Well, it's nice to see that Greg Frères and Sean Millington made it too. I heard their planes were delayed for 2 days.
All right. Mike O'Shea and his Argo defense digging in. They've got Burris and his offense pinned at their own 20. Burris pumping, throwing deep down midfield. There's some contact there. Ron Johnson was the intended receiver. It goes incomplete. And Antonius Bonner was right there in coverage.
And just Ron Johnson, they love his speed, but it seems to me that he's fighting the football right now. He dropped a sure catch in the first quarter. He seems to lose sight of where he is. He's looking back to the ball, runs right into the defenders, looking for the flag, but I mean, the defender's not trying to take contact. He's protecting his ground again.
Yeah, he had the path there. And so it's an incomplete pass, 2nd and 10. Argo's trying to get the ball back here with decent field position. 1:47 to go until halftime. Burris flushed by Eric England. Now rolling to the wide side, throwing downfield. He's got a man open. It's Copeland, and it's incomplete. Great recovery as the Argo defender came back on the play. Chuck Winters regrouping at the last minute.
Well, one of the things that happens on a deep throw, Mark, exactly as you said, it allows the defender, if he's not too far behind, to close on the receiver, and that's exactly what happened on this one. Chuck Winters was able to come back, see the ball in there, make the adjustment, and just get in there enough to not allow Jermaine Copeland to come up with a catch. Almost picked it off himself.
And so the Argo defense will force Calgary to punt it away with Burkdale standing just across his own 5-yard line. 1:35 and counting until the half. Good field position transition here for Bashar Livingston as he awaits a short punt. He's got it at the 51-yard line of Toronto, but hardly any return on the play. Tremendous punt cover. Khalid Abdullah, first man down again for the Calgary special teams. On November 19th, football fans from across Canada will be in Winnipeg to watch the 94th Grey Cup. Don't miss your chance to be there in the stands as a new champion hoists the cup. There are still tickets available in Winnipeg, so go to CFL.ca and click on Grey Cup tickets. And Chris, you and I will have the best seats in the house at Canada Stadium as the Bombers play host to the Grey Cup, still hoping to be a part of that Grey Cup. First down, Allen, quick release, hook pass to Arlen Bruce, and Khalid Abdullah has been all over the field on special teams and in coverage here tonight. He makes the tackle. Gain of 6.
Well, Khalid Abdullah was filling in for John Grace, who was benched earlier in the year, got his job back. Really played well in the 2 games he played. Then he come down with a flu this week. Khalid Abdullah gets his opportunity to come and make some plays, and you're right. They're never scared because these guys got experience now and they've got speed.
Abdullah was saying back in his NFL days he lost 15 pounds when he was marking Ramadan and had to stuff a Gatorade bottle down his pants to make weight. Another completion, a hook pass to Tony Miles, his first catch of the game, and that's 45 straight games in which he's had at least one catch.
Well, I'm just blown by that comment, Mark. I mean, I'm trying to think, how much does a Gatorade bottle weigh, and how much would it affect the skill, and why would he stuff it down his pants? But obviously you're privy to these very, very confidential conversations.
Well, maybe he had like a 48 ouncer or something. He had the long shirt on. Handoff, draw out of the shotgun. Look at Jeff Johnson go, bouncing outside. Argos with 50 seconds left on the clock and a gain of 7 on that one. 2nd and 3, maybe 4 for the Argos.
Well, interesting, you know, Toronto opened up the game and had success on their first drive. They were going hurry up offense. They've gone away from that. They've got good field position from their special teams this game so far. See if they can take advantage of it, put some points on the board. They're definitely in field goal range right now.
It's been a kicker's duel. A 9-6 Stampeder lead, 3 field goals and 4 attempts for the Angeles, 2 for 2 for Prefontaine. 2nd down and 4, play action, naked bootleg, and Allen has time across the middle, crossing route to Arlen Bruce. He's wide open, beats the first man, Cedric Williams, and then is tackled at the 15. A big first down, a gain of 19, and flags down. Well, the ball may have come loose on the play at one point.
Well, a nice job again of Damon Allen getting out of the pocket by himself, some extra time, stretching that defense, a little bootleg action.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 30. That penalty be half the distance from the point the ball is dead. First down.
And it's just nice when you're running that pattern. And you can see the face mask right there on Arlen Bruce III. But Damon Allen buys himself some time by stretching that pocket, by attacking the sidelines. And that allows Arlen Bruce to find the opening coming across the middle. It's a nice job.
Keith Stokes now into the game for Ricky Williams. And the Argos 1st and goal from the 8-yard line with 23 seconds on the clock. Trying to go to the half with a major. Allen in the pocket, throwing backside. It's too high, and Tony Miles wide open just inside the goal line.
Well, Damon Allen's going to want this one back. As you say, Tony Miles just sitting inside the goal line marker, wide open. Roll to left and throw back to the right. Look off the safety, come back. Look how wide open both receivers are. R.J. Soward is over top. Tony Miles is below, just across the goal line. And he simply overthrows what would be a sure touchdown.
And Sheldon Napastic with a shot after the quarterback released the ball. 2nd and goal from the 8. 19 seconds to go until halftime. And play is whistled to a stop as the Stampeders call a timeout.
Calgary, 30 seconds only, 30 seconds.
The Stampeders trying to make Damon Allen and the Argo offense think about it. This offense that has been struggling to score points. And Adam Rita now with a chance to have a quick word with his veteran quarterback.
Remember last week, Mark, in Calgary, the half ended 12-1 again. A game of field goals, 4 by Calgary, and a missed field goal point for the Argonauts. And you see Coach Clemens, there's Adam Rita on the right, conversing with Damon Allen. An opportunity to put maybe a touchdown on the board, as you say, before halftime.
Well, look at all the advice he's getting. He's got Spurgeon Wynn there. He's got Pinball. Adam's not saying much, and Michael Bishop in the background. And Pinball was telling us yesterday that Damon Allen doesn't like a lot of advice. He likes to be left alone making big decisions like this.
Well, he likes maybe advice coming from one person. It's very distracting to have 5 or 6 people yelling at you.
Timeout, Toronto.
Maybe he needed a little more advice.
Well, they'll filter through the secondary. See Adam Rita going to call up.
Well, it's a good idea, though. Why, you know, you've got a timeout left. Absolutely. Why not use it and be sure about the play call? And now Adam Rita bringing Bishop into the conversation along with Spurgeon Wynn.
Well, and that's what you want to do. You want all your quarterbacks to be there. If you're going to make a decision right now, make sure they all understand what you're doing. There's no sense having your backup quarterback sit on the bench while you're talking about strategy with your starting quarterback. Be in the game.
Damon Allen calling his own plays ever since Kent Austin was dismissed as the offensive coordinator. And this is a big one here. 19 seconds to go to the half. 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. Allen facing the Calgary blitz. Quick release, incomplete. R.J. Soward with a little corner route to the 1-yard line and couldn't get his hand on it. And it's 3rd down and a field goal situation, so the Argos blow another chance to score a touchdown.
It looked like they were trying to run a little rub pattern in the corner of the end zone, and it didn't look like the timing was very good. As the receiver comes to the middle of the football field, you're hoping to create a little bit more separation for R.J. Soward as he goes to the corner of the end zone. He didn't get it, therefore no catch, and Prefontaine on to try another field goal.
From the 15-yard line, good on 2 for 2. Tonight, this one from a sharp angle is good. So Noel Prefontaine evens the score at 9 apiece with 12 seconds to go until the half. But Damon Allen thinking about one he'd like to have back, a wide open Tony Miles in the end zone, and he threw it over his head.
Well, those are the ones that you look and you think about long after the game is over. You'll go out and say, if I only would have hit you. I had 2 receivers. He actually had 2. He had R.J. Soward behind him on that play and Tony Miles, both open, overthrown them both.
And think about that first series with R.J. Soward, the ball in his hands, a very catchable pass in the end zone. Argos could have had 2 legitimate touchdowns in this first half.
And that's the frustrating part, Mark, because when you go over film and you end up losing a football game, well, the film shows you the mistakes you make, but it doesn't change the standings. So if you've lost, you're still lost, and you hopefully build on that. But we're getting to the end of the year now where you want to correct those mistakes and take advantage.
This Argo offense, as you mentioned off the top of the broadcast, missing so many players to injuries this year, as Henry Burris floats a pass dangerously to the far side of the field, and it's complete to Elijah Thurman, and it's a gain of 12 and a first down.
And not only dangerous, but you only got 7 seconds left in the first half, and to throw that long ball across the field, and you got Jordan Younger, who has 5 interceptions coming in today's ball game. He might break on that football and take it all the way.
DeAngelis has kicked from 53, but there's no way they're within his range here with 7 seconds to go in the dead air inside the dome with the roof closed. 6 receivers downfield. Burris with one last shot. He'll just throw it over top of Nick Lewis's head. He was wide open in the flats, but the Argos dropping way off in prevent, but still 1 second left on the clock. One last
chance
play
to try and go downfield, but you know that the Argonauts, the linebacker, sitting 15 yards back at the line of scrimmage, and the secondary is way back farther. I mean, they're not going to allow anything behind them, so they'll give you a little catch in front and they'll wrap them up.
The Argos have their DBs back near the Gardner Expressway right now. That's how deep they are.
Maybe just a kneel down.
Keep it clean, guys.
Steinauer back at his 15, and Burris will take a knee and run the final second off the clock. Both teams with ample chances to find the end zone offensively, but it's been a kicker's duel in this opening half of football, all tied at 9. Now to the sidelines, here's Brenda with the pinball.
Well, Mike, turnovers and penalties, a big story for your club in that first half.
Well, I think the biggest story is our play on special teams. We've certainly gotten a whole lot better this week. A big difference between this week and last week on special teams. We're at a 9-9 tie. We have had a couple of turnovers and a couple of penalties that have cost us, but we're playing much better football this week.
Are you confident your receivers can do a better job of helping Damon Allen in the second half?
Well, I think we play this game together. They always try to help Damon Allen. They tried to help him in the first half, and they'll try equally as hard in the second half.
Good luck in the second.
Thank you, Brenda.
Let's go up to Mark.
Thanks, Brenda. Pinball always finding the sunny side of a situation. Here at home tonight, his team all tied at 9 in a game full of bad blood and some great scoring chances. Canadian Tire at the half. Autumn starts at Canadian Tire. Now, here's Elliot Friedman.
The score is 9-9, but it should be 13-9. Damon Allen overthrowing a wide open Tony Miles in the end zone late in the first half. Statistically, not a ton there that really stands out. The rushing yards again down. 2 good runners, Reynolds and Williams. The 2 defenses did a good job on them last week, and they're doing a pretty good job on them again tonight. But Darren Flutie almost jumped out of his seat on the second Damon Allen interception. That play made you angry. Why?
Well, they bring Bashar Livingston in, that wide receiver. He's the fastest player on your team. What you're telling everybody is, all right, we're going to send him deep. We're going to throw it to him. The defense knows it. You're also telling your receivers, you're not good enough. We're going to bring in this return guy to run the route. It's just, to me, the offense has to come from within your system, within your scheme. You can't build your offense around individuals.
And Calgary, on the other hand, is running a good system, but Toronto is trying to create formations, like Darren said, push their receivers around to be able to solidify man-to-man coverage and get them open. They're not running an offensive system, and that's something that needs to change. This Calgary team is doing a great job defensively. Toronto's doing a great job defensively. That's why we have a 9-9 ball game. But these receivers for Toronto have got to step up. Soward is not catching. Bruce is not catching balls. Stokes did not make a catch. They have got to step up and help out Damon Allen.
And how about this? Look, before we get to the Calgary offense, Sean Greg, the drops, guys, the drops early in that first half, first series and a couple later on, that kills your momentum.
Well, I think this really changed the complexion of the game. I mean, if R.J. Soward comes down with this ball, all of a sudden it's 7-0, gives your team a huge lift. Arlen Bruce, another very catchable ball. He has both hands on it. There's no excuse, especially from a guy like Arlen. You don't expect him to make those kind of drops.
And Toronto is capitalizing on great special teams play. Mike Clemens, head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, spent extra time this week to get his special teams right because they got outclassed last week. Because special teams, he understands, with a struggling offense, is going to give them the best opportunity to be able to score some points, which is what we're seeing tonight.
He made a change also. David Houston in his special teams, Dave Donaldson out. Now, also, Sean, just quickly, Calgary offense, why is it stalling inside the 20?
Well, one word, Elliot, execution. And when I talked to Steve Barrato before the game, that's what he identified as the issue as well. They're having too many breakdowns. One guy will drop the ball. Henry will miss a wide open guy. Just little things that each guy is taking his turn making a mistake, and in order for them to be successful, everybody has to be on the same page and execute the game plan.
All right, earlier this afternoon, Hamilton, BC, the Hall of Fame game, Buck Pierce started at quarterback for Dave Dickinson out with a concussion, and then Pierce got hurt. He was knocked out of the game, did not return, and Jarius Jackson came off the bench, did a terrific job, 12 of 21, 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. BC stays ahead of Calgary with 2 big games between those 2 opponents coming up. When we come back, the second half, Darren Flutie's favorite play.
JV football.
Back in the day. Brought to you by Nissan Versa, the larger-than-life small car.
The CFL's Western frontier in the 60s was sheriffed by the Stamps' Wayne Harris, who made sure that passing through town was a painful experience. Getting through Harris was as easy as getting through the Rockies themselves if the mountains were charging at you, baring teeth. Thumper was a Western All-Star 11 times in his 12 years, All-Canadian on 8 occasions. His collection of CFL Most Outstanding Lineman trophies reached 4, and in 1971, he was the first defensive player in league history to be named Grey Cup MVP.
Cold, damp night outside in Toronto. We're under the climate-controlled conditions here at the Rogers Centre, getting ready to start the third quarter of this football game, all tied at 9. Chris, these 2 teams have some of the most explosive offensive stars in Canadian pro football, and yet it's the kickers really in the spotlight so far.
Well, the defenses have adjusted, and they made the plays they've had to. But I'm telling you what, there's a positive for Toronto.
Right away,
Special
guys,
teams
right
is doing
away.
a nice job of giving them a good field position, so there's no excuse for the offense this week. But the penalties are still bothering me. The penalties by the Argos, they get a good play, they get a penalty, and they gate the game. And then, of course, Toronto's left 2 touchdowns on the field by the drop by R.J. Soward and Damon Allen when he overthrew a wide open 20 miles in the corner of the end zone. So we are all tied up at 9-9.
Stamps twice in the red zone, backed themselves up with penalties, and the Argos with 2 golden touchdown chances foiled by an overthrow and a drop pass. Right now, let's go to the sidelines. Here's Brenda with Tom Higgins.
Tom, Henry Burris said yesterday the key to the first half to remain patient. He was. The defense made a couple of big plays. How did you see that first half?
Well, interesting. Two good defenses out playing, slugging it on out, not people getting too close to be able to put it in the end zone for touchdowns. It's befitting that it ends up being 9-9 at half, and now 30 minutes of football determine who wins the game.
What's the single most important thing you want your club to focus on the second half?
Staying disciplined and not hurting ourselves. It's a little chippy out on the field, and we can't retaliate. Plus, we can't have penalties that we can control.
Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Now let's go upstairs to Mark and Chris.
Thanks, Brenda. Tom said it. He used the word chippy. It's 3 weeks in a row we've had some chippy stuff surrounding the CFL. Remember the post game 2 weeks ago in Vancouver. Then last week, the Lions in Saskatchewan, a little pregame dust up. And then this week we had some ugly stuff going on 2 hours
It's the time of the season. They're all fighting for playoff spots. Everybody wants to finish first. They know that BC won again today. Calgary wants to win to keep pace. Toronto saw Montreal beat Winnipeg yesterday. They want to keep pace. It's the best part of the year right now.
Everybody's scoreboard watching, and every game now magnified on the road to the Grey Cup. This is the final weekend of September. Next thing you know, it's October and the home stretch. Hey, September, October. What comes after October?
You're amazing. You're prophetic.
Tell you what, it's good to have a school teacher in the booth. Ball is away to start this second half of football, and J.R. Ruffin gets outside. Beats the first man, John Williams. Livingston and Hardy have him corralled, and Chris Hardy, the 10-year veteran out of the University of Manitoba, finally brings J.R. Ruffin to the turf. Steve Barato game planning with Henry Burris as he heads out onto the field for his first series. This is what he did in the first half.
Well, he moved the ball around again. The defenses are dictating where they're delivering the football, and as you can see right here again, majority of the action is just underneath the linebackers right now. They're taking the short stuff and hopefully breaking a tackle, but he has gone down. He's hit Copeland for a big game in double coverage.
6 quarters, though, and no touchdown passes from Henry Burris, the #2 rated passer in the CFL right now, behind Ricky Ray. In the shotgun, handing off, has a lead block. Joffrey Reynolds can't find a hole, doubles back, and he's stopped. Kevin Ivan makes the tackle for the Argos.
Nothing happened. Let's go.
There's Jonathan Brown, the big defensive end for Toronto, and tonight he's wearing the mic for the CBC.
You know that. Here, it's time to eat, baby. Double E. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Frank. No, Frank. No, Frank.
They can't block me. 66 cannot block me. Henry Burris is just running around all the time. He can't block me, though.
Big man talking to himself on the Argo bench. Here's Burris. Pressure from Brown. Falls away, and a great defensive play by Byron Parker. A one-handed knockdown. Elijah Thurman was behind him.
Well, Mark, it was interesting as we listened to that last mic'd up by Jonathan Brown, and again, he is working against Gauthier right there. He just pushes Gauthier out of the way, gets in and gets a hit on Burris. Good coverage downfield. You see Jordan Younger breaks inside, almost comes up with an interception. But the pressure, Brown on the bottom, swim back inside, hitting the quarterback, or letting him know you're around. He says he can beat 66 all day. He did on that play.
Third down in a punt situation. And Keith Stokes is the lone man back for Toronto. Good punt, pushing Stokes back to his 27-yard line. Keith Stokes straight up the hash marks and pulled down, dragged down from behind. Trey Young grabbing his shirt tails.
Well, Mark, it's interesting that last week they had 4 punt returns for a total of 20 yards. A much better performance being put forth by the returners today. Let's take a look at Damon Allen. Started off slow, 1 for 6 in the first quarter, picked it up in the second quarter. Again, looking at that, he went deep once, got intercepted, threw a couple more deep. At least he is trying to stretch this defense.
His receivers have got to come up with some big catches. play action. Bubble screen. Tony Miles getting some blocks. Gets outside. There's a flag on the play. Jeff Johnson blocking there. And it looks like a holding call against the Argos.
Well, it's going to go against the Argos. They try to get to the outside. But even going back to that passing chart, you're right. R.J. Soward with the drop ball in the end zone. The throw in double coverage that wasn't Damon Allen's fault, that Livingston ran the wrong route.
Holding. Toronto number 68. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And again, they do something positive. And Dave Costa this time, the right guard with the penalty. He's just going to swing around, and as he tries to stop, he actually works his way around the linebacker, and that's exactly why the play is called. You see him go out there and grab the face mask of Scott Coe.
1st and 20 now for the Argos at their own 40-yard line. 4-man rush. Flat pass. Ricky Williams inside Khalid Abdullah, but he won't get away. A shoestring tackle. And a 2-yard gain.
And interesting when you compare last week to this week in terms of Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams was the whole show last week. Mentioned off the top, 11 touches in the first 15 offensive plays. To this point, that's his 6th touch of the football this evening.
And the man that brought him down, Khalid Abdullah, the rookie, back in the lineup after the hamstring injury cost him last week. And John Grace, who had a great game replacing him, not even in the lineup here tonight. The Western and CFL defensive player. Big pass on the look in to Tony Miles at full stride. And a huge first down. That's more like the Tony Miles we've come to know and love in the CFL.
Well, and that's more like Damon Allen hitting the receiver at full throttle, where he doesn't have to stop and make the catch and then start again. Tony Miles, a man they called Tony the Tagger, showing a little snarl right now, coming back into the middle, makes a nice catch and turns it upfield. Big play for the Argo offense.
A 34-yard gain, the longest of the year for Tony Miles. And what a difference a year makes for Miles. Damon Allen throwing, nearly intercepted, too far for Arlen Bruce, and Cedric Williams was the nearest man and nearly had the 3rd Allen pick of the game.
Well, interesting again, as they would run with a shallow route to the sideline with R.J. Soward, a deeper route to the sideline with Arlen Bruce, and Arlen Bruce didn't look like he knew if it was coming to him or if it was going to R.J. Soward, so he kind of stopped running on the play, and as a result, that ball thrown away from him and almost picked off.
2nd and 10. And now the Stampeders go to their 7 defensive back set on 2nd and long, and it's awfully tough to pass against. The Argos with motion now. 3 receivers to the wide side. Looks like a broken play. Allen in trouble, and Raheem Abdullah, the sack leader for the Stampeders, has one here, his 9th.
Well, Raheem Abdullah, who was a force last week, again, just getting it done. A nice move, but just busted inside, beating the block of Johnson. Now, Johnson, that's a mismatch. You're going to put Jeff Johnson on Raheem Abdullah. You know what? You have to break down your blocking schemes and put a big man on a big man. Don't put a back on a guy like Raheem.
And Raheem was saying today that he plays his best football during Ramadan despite having to fast. A 46-yard attempt for Noel Prefontaine. His longest is 52, and he hits the uprights. That's the 2nd time we've had a field goal hit the uprights. 1 each for Prefontaine and DeAngelis.
Kickers, if we tried to hit that pole.
It's been a kickers duel tonight, 9-9. Prefontaine and DeAngelis, each 3 for 4, each hitting the uprights. Bunch formation for Calgary on offense. A fumbled snap, and Burris, good thinking, heads up field and manages to have 4 yards on the play and prevent a fumble.
What almost looked like Burris was pulling away before the actual snap count, and very fortunate as he comes away. You know, he just takes his eyes off the football. Comiskey with the nice snap, and Burris very fortunate to hold on to that ball.
Burris, who said this week, when our offense is clicking, it's pick your poison. They've got so many skill players who can threaten the defense. He said, you double this guy, we go to that guy, you load up the box, we throw, you drop guys off, we run. But here tonight, penalties have hurt them when they've been in scoring position. There's a Swing pass to Ron Johnson. Johnson, the big receiver, busting tackles. What a nasty receiver indeed, as he gets the first down, turning the corner, and a gain on that play.
Well, I wonder if Ron Johnson wants to keep the ball as it's his first catch. He does a nice job of getting to the hitch, but watch the blocking in front of him. Nick Lewis. There's Rambo. Copeland doing an excellent job of taking the defender to the sideline, allowing Ron Johnson to come inside and pick up a first down.
And the gain on that play was 16 yards for the rookie Johnson, who impressed the coaching staff in Calgary with his special teams work ethic and speed, and getting a chance to play as a receiver in a 6-receiver set here. Quarterback draw after the pump fake by Burris, and Burris pays a price there, heading up the field for about 6, maybe 7 yards.
Well, Kevin Ivan makes the play. It'll be interesting to see who they spy Henry Burris with. Sometimes it'll be O'Shea, sometimes Ivan. You see 35 is right in the middle of your screen, and he's responsible for Henry Burris. Now, you know what? The nice thing about doing that is if you're a quarterback, you can run your routes behind him because you know now that you have a linebacker that's spying you.
2nd and 3 after the gain of 7 for Henry Burris. Play action, under pressure, backpedaling, strong arm, and a catch. Wes Cates makes the catch right near the first down marker, but had a knee down, and the play is whistled dead at midfield. But Henry Burris under tremendous pressure there, showing his arm strength, throwing as he was backpedaling in the face of that Argo pressure.
Well, he threw that one low and away, where only the receiver, Wes Cates, could come up with the catch. And again, the back pedal goes down low, throws a strike to Wes Cates, who really is becoming an X factor on this offense. Don't talk a lot about him, but he does have the capability of breaking some big plays.
Gaining some attention too as a Rookie of the Year candidate in the West. Handoff out of the shotgun. Joffrey Reynolds goes outside with a quick move. High step now, and finally wrestled down to the turf by Byron Parker. But it's another Calgary first down, and that was all Joffrey Reynolds. There was no hole, and he got outside lickety-split.
Well, he busted outside. Inside, breaks to the outside. Great change of direction. And watch the next change of direction as he swats Parker. You got to give Parker credit, though. He comes back and does not give up on the play and brings Reynolds down.
Reynolds out of the University of Houston, idolizing Ricky Williams, the Texas superstar and Heisman Trophy winner, but it's been Joffrey Reynolds who's been winning the matchup in this back-to-back series of running backs. Pitch pass to Kenyon Rambo now, and we talked about picking your poison. Now Henry Burris really distributing the football, using all of his weapons on offense. A gain of 12 and another Calgary first down.
Well, I think that rhythm is huge for Henry Burris. When he gets in that groove where everything seems to work, it's almost like he knows what he's going to do 2 plays ahead of the time. He knows exactly where he wants to attack this defense. Does it again. Goes to the right. The last play with Reynolds. This time he comes back with a quick hitch pass to Copeland to the short side, spreading that defense out. This is a tough defense. The Argo defense is very tough.
And Burris said yesterday it's paramount for him to protect the football, not to take chances, not to turn over against the Argos. He's done that. Here's a pitch now. Joffrey Reynolds cutting up inside. And he's stopped by Kenny Wheaton, who grabs his leg and holds on at the 25, a gain of 4 on first down.
And another thing, when you want to talk about the Argos, now you're talking back-to-back. Now, against some teams that might be tough because they might change it, but Calgary says, you know what, we know what we're getting, because Toronto's so confident with their defense, they don't change anything, which is a credit to their defense, because even though you know what they're going to do, you still have difficulty beating it.
2nd and 6, and the Stampeders at the 25-yard line. Remember, in the first half, twice inside the red zone, and then penalties backed them up, and they had to settle for field goals. Argo blitz now, pumping. Burris in trouble, gets it away. It's intercepted. Eric England, the defensive end, rumbling downfield. Has he got enough steam? He's leaking oil at the 20, celebrating at the 10. Touchdown. An 80-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Mark,
and we just talked about protecting the football.
I was just going to say, you gave him the curse by saying, you know what, he's being patient. He's not forcing anything. He's not creating any turnovers. He gets a little pressure this time, and he throws. He makes a bad decision and forces a throw. Throws it right to the defensive end, Eric England, who shows some good speed, giddy up as you call it, to get to the outside. And 80 yards later, the defense puts the first touchdown on the scoreboard for the Argos.
Well, you talked about it in the first half in practice. Eric England, the pinball was saying yesterday, after every play, he chases down the receiver or running back all the way to the end zone, gets the ball and throws it back himself. Last week we saw him track down Joffrey Reynolds after a 62-yard pass and run play, and this time he goes 80 the other way for pay dirt. The celebration is on. The Argos finally get a touchdown, and it comes from their defense. Eric England with his first ever interception for a touchdown and just the second interception of his career.
Well, they're going to bring the blitz from the outside. Now, here comes Fletcher and Bonner on the outside. Now, as we run this, guys, take a look. They're not picked up. As they come through, there he is. You can see there's Fletcher now. Ivan's got Henry Burris by the ankle, and he decides to avoid the sack. He's going to try and force the ball downfield to Rambo, Kenyon Rambo. He throws it short, ends up in the hands of Eric England, who does a nice impersonation of a running back, taking it 80 yards for a touchdown.
That's the 5th interception return for a touchdown by the Argos this year, and they move into a league tie with BC with 25. J.R. Ruffin now returning that kick across the 40-yard line, and good field position after Jeff Johnson makes the tackle. Remind you to log on to cbc.ca/CFL and cast your vote for Warrior of the Game. Let us know who deserves the hallmark of a champion and a warrior, the toughest, grittiest, most unselfish player. And, well, Henry Burris perhaps getting a nod, but maybe not after that 80-yard pick.
Yeah, it's a good time to go for Warrior of the Game just after you throw a key interception.
It's got to be Eric England right now.
Well, Eric England's got the interception. He's also got a sack in the first half as well.
Right. Sack and a pick, and making a case for Defensive Player of the Week, maybe Lineman of the Week. Bunch formation now on 1st and 10 for Calgary. Handing off Joffrey Reynolds, bouncing off field, and he gets off that tackle for a gain of 5, maybe 6 on the play.
Well, Joffrey Reynolds, who has enjoyed good days against this Argo defense running the ball, has really been held in check for the most part by the Argo defense, which has been criticized as saying soft against the run. We'll give you the run. Well, I don't think they're giving the run to Reynolds. Last week held him to 86 yards, a 5.1 yard average. Not bad, but when you realize that he averages usually 6.5 to 6.8 yards per carry, a little lower.
And with those 73 yards so far tonight, he's moved back in front of Charles Roberts in the rushing race in the CFL. Joffrey Reynolds turning upfield, and he'll be shy of the first down of about a yard on the play.
Well, Joffrey Reynolds has had the ball a lot. He's done a good job. Watching the change of direction for a big man and the leg drive. That's the thing that impresses it, whether he gets it as a handoff or a swing pass. I mean, his refusal to go down after initial contact, the strength. Look at him switching the ball, using his arms, leverage, great leverage to get to the outside. Look at that, swatting back inside. Exciting player, Joffrey Reynolds. Maybe a candidate for most outstanding player from the Stampeders.
And it's going to be interesting because G. Roy Simon, of course, making a strong bid for that award in the West. As the receiver, you've got Reynolds battling with Charles Roberts for the rushing lead. Back and forth the lead went this weekend, and Reynolds back on top. Deep punt to Heath Stokes at his 10-yard line, and he's tackled immediately for just a 5-yard return, as the long snapper was downfield to make the tackle for Calgary. Hockey Night in Canada is back next week, Thursday, with a special Thursday night triple header. It all begins in the East with the Leafs at Ottawa and Vancouver at Detroit, and then game 2 of the doubleheader, Calgary and Edmonton. Hockey Night in Canada next Thursday at 7 on CBC. Ricky Williams now getting outside, one of his best carries of the game, 6, maybe 7 yards.
Ricky Williams has not really been the main focus in the Argo offense this evening. Last week, different story. I think it's a better decision to pick your spots at Ricky Williams. As you say, the best run of the evening. I think it's only his 4th carry of the evening.
You're going to mark him back after he bounced for 2 yards and give him a gain of 5 on the play. But Pinball Clemens was saying he expected Williams to have better endurance in the second half this week after making his first return from the broken arm and then the sliced Achilles heel last week. 2nd and 5. Motion now. Allen straight back to pass. Crossing route to Tony Miles, wide open in the middle. And he's wrestled to the turf. Jermaine Chapman making the tackle, but it's another first down for the Argos as they move the sticks.
I think it's really important that they get Tony Miles, as we talked about, the drive earlier, a 34-yard catch, his longest of the season. This time another underneath route. And again, Tony is there. You got to do that. You got to mix and match. They're doing a nice job of covering Arlen Bruce. So, you know, you've got to start using the other receivers.
Argos going after that linebacking core of the Stampeders, who play mostly zone, not big cover men, unlike the Argo linebackers. Handoff. Jeff Johnson gets past Khalid Abdullah, and then quick pursuit brings him down. J.R. Ruffin getting out there to make the tackle. Gain of 5 on the play for the York veteran.
Nice little high step to break the tackle. Watch him kick through this tackle. Lifts the legs up, little hurdle action. Getting away from Abdullah, picking up 5 yards on that first down.
Brian Clark actually to make first contact, the leader of that defense for Calgary. 2nd and 5. The Argos were hoping to have John Avery back in the lineup, and an interesting combination of Avery and Ricky Williams in the backfield, but the ankle injury still keeping John Avery out of the lineup for his 4th straight game. Quarterback draw now. Damon Allen busts 1 tackle on the play from the Calgary defender and will be very close to the first down.
Well, it'll be interesting where they mark this. And this is a predetermined call. As Damon Allen comes up to the line of scrimmage, he's going to read the defense. He recognizes that there's a vacancy in the middle of that defense. There's no linebacker. As a result, he gets to go up there and he picks up what is going to be very close, and they're going to give them the first down.
And you see this progression here. Damon Allen, now 43 years of age, not running like he used to, running once every 12 passes. But still a threat with an 8.5-yard average gain on the ground, the rushing leader among quarterbacks. There's a little hook route to Keith Stokes. Look at him break tackles, and he makes more yards after the catch to center field. And we thought in the second half last week, when they got Stokes into the offense, he was one of their more productive receivers. Gain of 18 on the play.
Well, Keith Stokes was the 2nd leading receiver, 58 catches last year in Winnipeg. Now the thing is, he's a great punt returner. The thing about him, if you're going to have a cover 4 or a deep, give a guy like that who can break tackles, the short pass, and let's see if he can make people miss. And that's what he does on his play. He picks up a good first down.
Just across the midfield stripe. Allen in behind his center, Chad Folk. Fakes the pitch, hands off straight up the middle, and it's Brian Crawford, the fullback out of Queens, with a short carry on the play. Next Monday, it's our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. It all begins with the pregame show at 12:30 Eastern. Then the Rough Riders of Montreal. Ed Fillion and the Alouettes snapping that big losing streak with a big win over Winnipeg last night. And then followed up back here at Rogers Center with Edmonton at Toronto. Final 5 weeks of the regular season looming now. And the big 3 in the West really overshadowing the top 3 teams in the East so far this season. Here comes the blitz against Damon Allen. He gets the ball away to Jeff Johnson in the flats, stumbles, gets up, and gets close to the first down marker. They'll be just shy. Here are the third quarter numbers.
Well, the third quarter is basically one big play, the interception by Eric England on the bad decision by Henry Burris for the turnover. England scoring the first touchdown for the Argonauts in over 2 games with an 80-yard romp after snaring the errant Burris pass.
And that's been the only touchdown of this football game, as each offense has struggled against the defenses here tonight. Here's the measurement, and they'll be about a half-yard short. But the Argos eating up the clock here, and a decent drive.
Take a look at the face mask there, Mark, as well, by Jerome Davis, who basically rips the face mask of the safety, and no call.
At the very least, it was a hold.
Well, it's a great hold.
How that one got missed in wide open field is anyone's guess. But the Argos now with a third down gamble. About a half-yard to go. Ball at the 45-yard line of Calgary. And you dig in on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and it's Michael Bishop sneaking his way. He'll have the necessary yardage, but there are 2 flags down on the play.
Well, it's 2 flags, and it's definitely offside by the Stampeders. The interior of that defensive line jumped the gun. Michael Bishop did pick up the first down, but they would have got it anyway with the offside by the Stampeders.
Offside. Calgary defensive line. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You can see he just jumps. Shell looks like Sheldon Navasik 92, but they call the entire defensive line. Usually when they call the entire line, it's because they've encroached on the 1 yard, the grace, 1 yard grace between the line of scrimmage and where they have to line up on defense.
So it's a first down for the Argos at the 40-yard line. Damon Allen with twin backs, fakes the pitch, naked bootleg now, buying time, crossing route. Arlen Bruce steps out of bounds. First down, Toronto. Boy, that was well executed. The fake, the roll, and he hits Bruce at full stride.
Well, they faked everybody but Scott Coe. And if it were not the speed still in the 42-year-old body of Damon Allen against the outside, you see Coe still coming on there trying to get there, but great job of staying with the play and having Arlen Bruce drag back across the middle in the direction of the bootleg.
16-yard gain to Arlen Bruce, and another first down. Pitch out to Jeff Johnson with Ricky Williams playing the fullback spot. Johnson at tailback gets outside across the 20, and he'll have a gain of 5 and a different look in that Argo backfield.
We're seeing some new looks, some new wrinkles from the Argo offense. We know that they like the key on 27, Ricky Williams, and this time they go to the middle as they fake the diver up the middle play with Ricky Williams and pitch it to the outside to Jeff Johnson.
And there's an injured Stampeder on the play as Allen heads to the Argo bench to converse with his backup and offensive coordinator. And it's Cornelius Anthony, the second-year linebacker, who took John Grace's job this year, the most outstanding defensive player 1 year ago for Calgary. Grace, of course, as I mentioned, left home this week as Khalid Abdullah came back on the roster at the outside linebacker position. But this is tough news for the Stamps as Pat Clayton takes a look at the right ankle.
Well, they love Cornelius Anthony. This is his 9th start. As you say, he forced the decision of John Grace and George White, who they released earlier this year. Another great linebacker who led the team in tackles last year. He's already got 6 sacks. And you can see there he is right there. And that's Ricky Williams, who comes from the backside and catches him in the back of the legs. A little bit of a clip. He tried to throw in front of him, but big loss for the Stampeders if Cornelius cannot stay in the game.
You mentioned the Calgary coaching staff's decision to sit John Grace and to release George White. Don't forget, Tom Higgins is the same coach who made the difficult decision as head coach in Edmonton to cut Willie Pless, a 5-time defensive player of the year and leading tackler in the CFL. It was Pless who shone for so many years in that Edmonton defense. But Tom Hagen says it's the most difficult decision you make as a head coach, when to tell a veteran he's done. He did that to Willie Pless. He did that to Terry Ray, and that caused quite an outburst of controversy in his own locker room. And he did it again this year with George White and then sitting John Grace. And it takes a lot of nerve to make a call like that. We've watched other teams in this league perhaps keep players a little too long and then the wheels fall off.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic in that you're trying to create a family atmosphere, and yet business comes into the family and you have to release somebody. And it's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the game. It really is. And it's very hard when you develop some relationships with these players.
And if you just joined us tonight, thank you for joining us. The only touchdown scored by Eric England on a dramatic 80-yard interception return for a touchdown. And the kickers have really hogged the spotlight, both 3 for 4. Both offenses still struggling.
And both field goal kickers ringing one off, the one they missed off the goalpost.
And the Argo defense, here's one more stat now that we're throwing them up for grabs here. The Argo defense has not allowed a passing touchdown now in 17 straight quarters. And they're facing one of the best in Henry Burris. All kinds of movement there as Allen gets the snap and the play is whistled dead, and it looks like it's coming against Toronto.
Yes, they were initially jumping on the defensive side, and they can move before the snap, but sometimes as an offensive lineman, as you see the defenders move, the natural reaction is to move yourself. You got to be very disciplined and stay with the snap count. It'll be interesting to see who this goes against, but I agree with you, Mark. I think it's going to go against the Argos.
A little discussion going in now. Jake Ireland, along with his head linesman Al Bradbury and the line judge Ben Major.
Well, if it was such an easy call, I think they would have made it already. It's interesting to note that all the officials are huddling together to come up with the correct call here. Maybe they just pull the flag back up.
We have 2 infractions. We have offside, Toronto number 18. We have offside, Calgary number 56. It remains second down.
So offsetting penalties and a break for the Argos here as they try to make good on this chance in the red zone.
Well, basically it's just going to be offside. There's one guy that jumps right there, and of course as he leaves the line, the Stampeders jump as well.
Scott Coe caught outside. 2nd and 5. Allen looking backside, gets the ball away. Wide open is Tony Miles. He's got the first down and more across the 10. A gain of 11. And Allen again slow to get up after being rocked after he throws the ball.
You want to talk about toughness. 43 years old, a grandfather. Here's enough about that, but stands in the pocket, knowing the blitz is coming. He's going to roll back, 5-step drop. As he delivers this football, he just gets clocked. Delivers the football. Tony Miles, nice display of shake and bake. Breaks a couple tackles. First down inside the red zone.
Standing in as Brian Clark laid him out just as he released the ball, but making the connection. 1st and goal from the 9, handing off on a counter inside to Ricky Williams, high stepping to the goal line, touchdown. Ricky Williams with his 2nd touchdown of this CFL season.
Mark, and underneath a counter back against the grain. Ricky Williams underneath helmet, handoff, takes it to the outside. Some misdirection. You're trying to catch the defense with the flow, hopefully going to bite on Damon Allen's movement and hands it back to Ricky Williams, who hurdles into the end zone for his first touchdown.
A 9-yard rush, and Chris, there was no stopping Williams on that play. You could see he got a sniff for the end zone and put his head down. John Avery with some well wishes on the sideline of the Argo bench as Prefontaine gets to put the exclamation point on that one. The convert is good, and the Argos have the game's first offensive touchdown. They're still buzzing at the Rogers Center after Ricky Williams' 2nd touchdown rush of the season. There's John Avery.
Well, it's a misdirection, and watch what happens. This is going to happen initially, and the defense is going to go like that, and Ricky Williams is going to come against the flow. As we run this, they're keying Damon Allen. Everybody goes inside. Freeze it right there. Take a look. This is a nice job of just getting enough of Mark Mitchell to allow the opening for Ricky Williams. He does the rest himself. He's not going to be denied. He can smell the goal line. High hurdles it in.
Mark Mitchell in to replace the injured Cornelius Anthony, who left the game with an ankle injury. And a 12-play drive culminating in the 9-yard touchdown run by Ricky Williams. Wes Cates now at his 14-yard line. Cates straight upfield. And Noel Prefontaine with the special teams tackle. He had 2 of those last week against the Stampeders. Take you through the anatomy of that scoring drive. It began with that terrific crossing route pass to Arlen Bruce. Then Tony Miles wide open. He's been open a lot here tonight. Miles with some nice moves to set up this play. A counter inside to Ricky Williams. High stepping, lowering the shoulder, and driving through Brian Clark for a 9-yard touchdown rush. And the first offensive score touchdown-wise in this football game. Flag on the play. And we'll see what this call is. Could be a 13-man
illegal substitution.
Yes.
Calgary, 13 men in the huddle. 10-yard penalty. It remains first down.
It's interesting, Mark, that coming into this game that the Stampeders have had trouble here at the Sky Dome at Rogers Center. Having lost the last 5 games here, and it looks very well like it might be 6.
That's a tremendous point also, that they've struggled in back-to-back series. They've only swept 1. That was against Montreal. This is their 5th back-to-back series of the CFL, so they've had trouble there as well. Burris in the shotgun. Great fake on play action. And Ron Johnson drops the ball for the 2nd time here tonight. He was wide open. And he gets a glance from his quarterback.
Well, a glance from the quarterback, but I would think there'd be notes taken by the head coach, because you're given this opportunity to play because you have certain skills. You continue to put the ball on the ground, not catching it, you won't be in the lineup anymore. You've got to make plays. It's all about taking advantage of opportunities.
Steve Barato trying to come up with something here. His team down 23-9 against an Argo defense that has allowed just 1 touchdown in the 4th quarter in the last 6 games. 2nd down and 10. Burris throwing a screen in traffic, and it's incomplete. Intended for Joffrey Reynolds. Mike O'Shea in there to bust it up, and the Argo defense celebrates another stalled offensive series.
Well, they read the play. It's misdirection. He's going to try and look off to the right and then come back to the left. But look at Mike O'Shea. We talked about this earlier in the game. He is looking. His first check is Henry Burris. Then he has to get out to check the back. He does a nice job of getting out there in Reynolds, disrupting that play.
Burke Dales to punt for Calgary. Another huge punt angled, and Livingston back at his 32. He trips and is down, and Randy Chevrier, the long snapper, is there to gobble him up. Short return and frustration for Bashar Livingston. Reminder to log on to cbc.ca/CFL and cast your vote for Warrior of the Game, brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. I gotta think Eric England is the runaway leader right now with that big 80-yard TD on the interception. Khalid Abdullah having a strong game back in the lineup.
I think Damon Allen has shown some spunk in the 2nd half as well.
He sure has, after a rusty first half. Allen handing off. Ricky Williams, a big gaping hole, and it takes Trey Young, the safety, to bring him down at the 52-yard line. A 12-yard gain running downhill.
Well, wearing the defense. Look at this. Look at the eyes. He does a nice job of seeing the hole, breaking it back out, lowering the shoulder, picking up a first down. Look at Bernard Williams open the hole, working Terrence Patrick way outside. Costas got Brian Clark concerned with the outside, and Ricky Williams with the great vision cuts it back inside.
Well, now he's limping off the field, and that's not a good sign. Remember, he had a 16-stitch cut on his Achilles heel. He suffered that in a freak accident going barefoot in the locker room and cut it on the corner of one of the steel doors about a week after he broke his arm back in late July in Regina. So we'll check on Williams as Jeff Johnson carries the mail now on the ground for Toronto. They had a short gain of 1 up the gut.
And that's so unfortunate as we're starting to see the glimpses of what we've heard all year about what to expect from Ricky Williams. See the nice touchdown run. He hurdles, not to be denied, gets a touchdown and a very nice vision run on the last play. But now again, and it may be that ankle they're looking at.
Checking out his ankle, or left ankle. Danny Webb works on the helmet, gets the visor polished up in case he returns. But you're right, he's running downhill in this 4th quarter, and his pounding is taking a toll on the Calgary defense. Backside screen to Tony Miles. Miles gets a block from Jude St. John way out there near the sideline, and he'll be close to a first down. Down to the Calgary bench now, and here's Brenda.
Well, just an update on Cornelius Anthony. He's on the Stamp sideline, icing his right ankle. I spoke with him, said he doesn't know exactly the extent of his injury yet, but I can't imagine by the look of him that he's going to be back into this game anytime soon. Mark?
Thank you, Brenda. Hopefully it's not serious, but they do have John Grace in the wings and all kinds of depth in that line backing core. 1st and 10. Allen rolling to the wide side. Now he'll run, gets a great block on the play from Keith Stokes, and then is hit hard near the first down marker, and Allen is slow to get up, favoring that left arm.
Oh, he's hurt. He took a shot. He took a shot on that left arm, and he's going to think about it. He's not sure if he wants to go on the sideline. He's going to check the clock now, but I think he might have to go down. It looks like he is indeed going to go down, Mark. Nice block by Keith Stokes to spring him to the outside, but Damon Allen, the veteran, paid for it at the end.
You know, first Ricky Williams goes out, then Damon Allen, as we take another look at the end of that play where he took the shot to his elbow. But Chris, this offense has been cursed with injuries all year, and it's really hurt their continuity. I mean, you lose the quarterback for 5 games, you lose all 3 of your running backs, your receivers, they've all been hurt except Arlen Bruce. What a great block there. And now Damon Allen is shaken up.
Well, you can see they're just going to test the strength of that left arm. It's not his throwing arm, but they're very much concerned on that Argo sideline.
Aaron Brooks, the Argo trainer, will attend to their veteran quarterback and will take a timeout in Toronto. Damon Allen getting attention on the Argo bench. His left knee, you can see the gauze and what looks like a turf burn there, and the big brace that still bolsters that left leg. Broke his leg 2 years ago, made the comeback to be the MVP of the Grey Cup and lead his team to victory over the BC Lions. And here at 43, out for 3 plays after the injury to his elbow. And Michael Bishop into the game at quarterback. Jeff Keeping back in the game as a fullback. He'll lead the blocking for Jeff Johnson, and the Stampeders just run roughshod over the Argo offensive line.
Well, we know that Damon Allen has runs. We take a look at Keith Stokes, and what a great hit. You're going to see it coming to top right there. Oh, you can feel it up here. He just catches Khalid Abdullah.
Abdullah looked at the last second, and it was too late when he got the head-on collision. And it's a 3rd down situation now for Toronto. There's Stokes and Desai Williams, the former Olympic sprinter for Canada, who helps to train the Argos in speed work.
And the nice thing about that, I know there's been a lot of talk about receivers going downfield and taking the legs out. I know that Kelly Wiltshire had maybe a career-ending cut by Nick Lewis. They didn't like the hit. It was low.
Toronto.
This time you see Keith Stokes staying high and very effective crunching Khalid Abdullah.
Argos have called a timeout as Bishop heads towards the sideline. Damon Allen has had a terrific second half before this injury to his elbow, completing 8 of 9 passes for 103 yards, much the way Henry Burris started the football game when he completed 8 of his first 9 passes. But Burris has gone cold, and Damon Allen has found his groove, but question is, can he return?
I haven't seen, well, the one thing, remember last week that we played these same 2 teams, and the play that really broke it open for Calgary was a little swing pass to Reynolds where he broke it for 62 yards. Haven't seen that today.
So after the timeout, the Argos will not gamble. They'll try to take the points. This will be a 47-yard attempt by Prefontaine and a flag down to stop the play at that point. And it's against the Argos, and they're going to move it back 5 yards.
Toronto, 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
And just like that, they're going to have to call off the field goal.
Very interesting to see who got the procedure call. Somebody had to move. It was definitely within Prefontaine's range.
Well, it would have been about 52 yards, which is his longest strike of the season, but they're playing it safe.
I think that's maybe a predetermined call. They're going to try and punt and get good cover downfield and force Calgary to start deep in their own territory.
Argos have enjoyed good field position tonight, unlike last game.
Go!
Prefontaine with a line drive angle to the far sideline, and it bounces out. Perfect positioning inside the 10. Welcome back to the Rogers Center in Toronto. A 23-9 lead for the Argos with 6.5 minutes to go. And tough field position for Henry Burris and the Stamps trying to mount a comeback here. They play it safe on the ground, and right up the gut, they've got a good gain of 12 yards. Joffrey Reynolds deking his way through the Argo defense.
Well, the interesting thing about that is the Argos are going to give up the running game to Reynolds for the simple fact that it eats up the clock. It's going to take a lot of time to drive the ball all the way down by handing the ball off. They're going to have to put the ball in the air a little bit.
CFL rushing leader with 88 yards on the ground, and good play action here. Burris throwing downfield. Ron Johnson wide open. This time he holds on but can't escape Orlando Steinauer. He had to turn back and wait for the ball. Otherwise he was gone. Remember last week Burris overthrew him in the end zone on a pitchback.
Blown coverage on the play, but a play action. That's what happens when you run the ball. Everybody bites on it. He rolls out and he just runs straight down the middle of the football field and gets behind everybody. As you say, if that ball was a little quicker delivered, it would have been in the end zone.
A 51-yard pass and run play to the rookie out of Minnesota, Ron Johnson. Burris throwing to the near sideline, and it's complete. Marcus Howell has to go down for the catch, and that's where they spot it for a gain of about 7. There's Alan Pitts, the CFL's all-time leading receiver. 11 tremendous years in red and white for the Stampeders. One of 5 men, Chris Walby, inducted and honored last night into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, joining Matt Dunnigan, Bobby Jurison, the Gizmo, and Victor Spencer, one of the builders of the BC Lions. And great night, some great people being honored. What a huge fill by Chuck Winters as Nick Lewis had to turn back for that pass and was rocked.
Well, this is what you call hanging him out to dry, because as he turns around to catch and find the football, first off, roll to the right, throw back to the left, he turns to catch his ball. Now as he gets his bearings to turn up the field, I mean, Chuck Winters is licking his lips. He knows he's got a kill shot right here, and he makes Nick Lewis pay for it. Nice job of Nick Lewis to hanging on to the football.
3rd and 1 and a gamble for the Stamps. They got to have this, and Burris will have it on the quarterback sneak. Good penetration by that Calgary offensive line.
Well, it's getting down to the nitty-gritty right now, and they need to get some scores, and that offensive line had to bear down. Good surge up the middle. He just follows the center, Comiskey, and picks up the first down.
And the clock is still running, Chris, and Burris has taken 15 seconds to get up from the pile and get back and try and call a play here in their hurry up. Crowd trying to make it hard, all 32,410 at the Rogers Center tonight. Burris with the audible. And a first down play. It's taken him more than 30 seconds to get it off. Rolling away from pressure. Throwing downfield, nearly intercepted. And a great chance by Byron Parker, who has 5 already this year.
Well, initially it looked like when Henry Burris changed it, they went to a 6-receiver set. He's going to drop back, roll to the right, flushed out by Eric England. Initially it looked like Marcus Howell in the back of the end zone was open. The pressure of forcing him out had to change his direction. He tried to force one to Copeland, and Byron Parker almost with his 6th interception of the year.
And Chris, in terms of clock management, from the end of the previous play to this one, 43 seconds off the clock.
Well, it's interesting. He ran to every receiver to tell him what the play was.
And the Argos didn't really speed up, letting them off the pile on that previous play. 4 receivers to the field, 6 to the short side, or rather 2 to the short side. Burris looking that way, throwing downfield. It's intercepted. Mike O'Shea has it for the Argonauts. His 2nd pick of the season. And the 2nd thrown by Henry Burris tonight. 2:48 to go, and the Argo defense stiffens again.
With the other linebacker taking a shot.
Damon Allen is back in the game at quarterback for the Argonauts. A good sign after he left with an elbow injury to his left arm. And he's had a terrific second half, helping to engineer the Argo touchdown on that 9-yard run by Ricky Williams. And Williams has not returned after leaving with what looked like an ankle injury. Here's Jeff Johnson with Brian Crawford in the all-Canadian backfield. The ball was loose. The Stamps say they have it, and it is Calgary football on a sloppy conclusion to that run by Jeff Johnson. A turnover by the Argos, and they give the ball right back.
Well, that is just something you don't want to do. It's just going off to the left, and he's running through. There's the pass. He drags it, and as he goes down, the ball comes in the pass. It grabs it, but I wonder if he was down. I wonder if the challenge is going to come out. It almost looks like he was down, and then the ball popped out to the outside or the left side behind the body, and that's where in the pass it was. Take another look at this here, folks. Oh, the ball is punched out. You know what? But it was still there on the hip.
So no challenge from the Argos. First down for the Stamps at the 22 of Toronto. Burris steps up, throws to the wide side. It's complete to Kenyon Rambo. Rambo turns on the Jets and heads up across the 10-yard line before Antonius Bonner can make the tackle. It's a first down and a gain of 12.
Well, that's just a big break on the play by Napastuk, because on the play previous, Henry Burris had thrown that untimely interception to Mike O'Shea that snuffed out their drive. Nice job of sitting back here this time and finding Kenyon Rambo. Picks up a first down.
Argos really had nothing to lose back on the last play to challenge the fumble. Stamps threatening, backpedaling. Burris under pressure, throws it away. And there's a flag on the play at the line of scrimmage as the Argos brought the heat with Jonathan Brown and Kevin Ivan in the quarterback's face.
Well, the Stampeders are saying it's against the Argonauts right now. Toronto's obviously saying he might have thrown the ball away as he's in the grasp. Well, if we're not, it's going to be offside against the Stampeders. Another penalty again, Mark, in the red zone that hurts this offense.
That's been the story of the night for the Stampeders.
Offside. Calgary number 83. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Ron Johnson had a couple of drops, and now this penalty.
I don't think Ron Johnson's going to want to watch film tomorrow. He might be the guy in the back of the room wearing the paper bag.
So first down repeated, 15 yards to go at the 15-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts. And the first down marker looks like it's just shy of the goal line. 6 receiver set for Henry Burris. 3-man rush. The Argos drop 9. Burris can't find anybody. Now he's in trouble. Straight arms Fletcher. He'll run and step out of bounds at the original line of scrimmage at the 10. Gain of 5 yards on that scramble. And again, it took a lot of time off the clock. 1:55 to play.
A lot of time off the clock, but excellent coverage downfield. Before the play, Mike O'Shea made an adjustment call to the defense. And whatever the call was, they succeeded in taking away every throw option. You see Copeland in the back of the end zone, but by that time, Henry Burris is running. You can see, looks like almost being baited by the defensive back in the back of the end zone.
Second down at the 10. Burris, quick shot to the wide side. Rambo, full speed, good block, touchdown. Marcus Howell with a tremendous block to spring Rambo outside, and the Stamps take advantage of that turnover.
Well, Marcus Howell and Jermaine Copeland to that wide side do an excellent job of getting on the defensive backs and freeing up. I believe it was Marcus Howell had the nice chop block. It's either him or Copeland. Fletcher's coming on the blitz. There's Marcus Howell working. So it was Copeland that had the beautiful chop block in the inside that sprung Kenyon Rambo.
Great seal block by Marcus Howell. The point after is good. And the Stampeders have their first offensive touchdown of the game with 1:48 to go. Kenyon Rambo with his 4th touchdown receiving this year. And the second-year player out of Ohio State has breathed some life into this Stampeder football club.
Well, we have a 7-point game again. So take a look at the play. Mike O'Shea just snug and tight. Watch this block. Oh, that is a beautiful block. Taken down Clifford Ivory by Jermaine Copeland and Marcus Howell on the outside to seal, and that allows Rambo to get to the outside. That's a great job of working together as receivers, not only catching the football but helping your partner get into the end zone.
The Stampeders may have the best blocking receivers in the league, and against a match coverage defense that Toronto employs where it's hard to go deep, you've got to throw short and get some yards after the catch. Those blocks are so important.
Well, they've only been beaten deep once today, Mark. We saw Ron Johnson, who did hold on to that one.
The hands team is in for the Stampeders and the Argos. DeAngelis now looks one way, looks the other. And now he'll kick to the near side. It's high, and the Argos haven't got it. It's Nick Lewis going up. Makes the catch on the short kick.
Mark, that was a little dipsy to the left, dipsy to the right. Couple dance steps and a beautifully executed kick by Sandro DeAngelis. Did he put that ball in a perfect rainbow loft? He kicks it up. He got 5 receivers coming. They're working against 3 defenders.
The Argos outnumbered.
That is what happened there, Mark. Good eyes by yourself there. And look at Nick Lewis is by himself, and he goes up, climbs the ladder. Big play by special teams again.
Stampeders trailing by a converted touchdown. 147. First down at the 50. Play action. Burris, good fake. Wide open is Jermaine Copeland at midfield. And he hustles upfield for a huge gain on the play. Kevin Ivan helps bring him down as we update your Rona game notes in the middle of this stirring drive.
Well, we talked about picking your poison, spreading the ball around, basically either Reynolds or the receivers. Really stymied first 3 quarters, coming alive late in the 4th quarter. On defense, keep Grandpa guessing. That's Damon Allen. Boy, Allen stymied early in the game, but coming on strong in the second half.
A 24-yard gain. Burris back to pass in the flats. Joffrey Reynolds, good block, straight arm, and very close to another first down. Mike Fletcher, joined by Michael O'Shea, making the tackle just inches shy of the first down marker.
Well, true character test for this Argo defense after Calgary recovers the short onside kick. Nice pass first play, second play, come on back, swing pass to Reynolds. It's going to be second and short.
They're going to measure. It'll be inches, it looks like. The ball just shy of the Argo 27. Toronto with what looked like a home and free victory here, up 14 points. And on first down, Jeff Johnson's fumble at the 22 led to the Stampeder touchdown as Barado now tries to orchestrate a comeback on offense.
But I'm also thinking the trickery, which really didn't look like trickery, on the short kickoff where he fakes one way, fakes the other way, comes back to the short side, and they had 5 guys going against 3 defenders. They outmanned them, and that allowed Nick Lewis to go up and catch that short kick.
Pinball stoic. It is second and inches. Rich Stuber now and his veteran-laden defense being backed up deep in their own territory. At the 27. Burris staying in the shotgun. He'll fake the handoff, and a catch to Nick Lewis, pushed out of bounds. And the cornerback, Jordan Younger, makes the tackle, but it's a first down.
Well, interesting that they would throw it. They fake the handoff. It's play action. Second and short. They got confidence, I guess, that in third down, if that play was unsuccessful, they could have picked up the first down by quarterback sneaking, and that time they do the play action, get it out to Nick Lewis.
What do you think of that call?
Dangerous.
No kidding. First down, 10 to go, 49 seconds and counting. Joffrey Reynolds hit right at the line of scrimmage. Michael Fletcher with a huge tackle on defense for Toronto. Just last week, Steve Barato was saying he's the most underrated defensive player in the league as far as he's concerned.
Well, he is just all over the field. Watch him come up and fill. Now, here he is right here. Watch him come up. He's in the linebacker position. He gets it. If he doesn't get that tackle, Reynolds is to the outside, and he's still running.
38 seconds and counting. 2nd and 8. A huge 2nd and long. Burris slips, throws. It's complete to Ron Johnson. Now he drops the ball.
Oh, I think
they're going to spot it.
Well, I think that he dropped the ball after contact. After he came down hard on the ground, the ball popped loose. Was he touched?
And Johnson is hurt.
Well, Ron Johnson, who's dropped some earlier throws in the game, this time he goes up high. As he comes down, he loses the ball. That's a catch.
That's a catch.
I mean, I'm not worried about that. I got guys tapping me on the shoulder going, no, it's a fumble. No, it's not. That's a great job of hanging onto the football.
How about Henry Burris? Nearly lost his footing, kept his balance, and then stepped up to find a man across the middle.
Well, your big-time players got to make big plays at big times, and none bigger than that one, as Henry Burris almost loses his footing, as you say, Mark, and then has the presence of mind to find Ron Johnson. Look at that. He slips. Nice little toss. Ron Johnson hangs on the football, but Paceford on a great hit takes the legs out of him by Orlando Steinauer. The safety.
The Argos have given up one offensive touchdown here in the fourth quarter.
The replay official upstairs has asked for a
It's the 2nd in 6 games as we update your Rona game notes.
Oh, he talked about the fact they had to go long or go home. They've had 2 completions over 20 yards. Calgary's not letting them do it, but they're getting the ball moved. Reduce Reynolds. Reynolds 99 yards from scrimmage. She's still a factor. But you got to give credit to the Argo defense, because this is a team that's soft against the run. In 2 games in a row, they've done a nice job of not allowing Reynolds to break a big run on them.
Now Jake Ireland with an official review of that last catch or no catch.
Well, that is done by the replay officials upstairs, not from the sidelines or the coaches. Last 3 minutes of the game, the last 3 minutes of the half, the replay officials upstairs can make that call.
Well, it looked pretty clear in the replays we've seen that Ron Johnson had possession, then lost it after he made contact with the turf.
As you see, he goes down. He still has the ball right there. He still has it right there. Then the ball is gone.
The ball and the catch was marked at the 5-yard line of the Argos.
Interesting that they've moved the ball back to the original line of scrimmage as they await the call for the review.
There's no evidence of a completed pass.
You got to be kidding.
Stands. The pass is incomplete. It is 3rd down.
Oh, my goodness. That looked like a sure catch, and the ball knocked loose by the turf.
Well, they say, I mean, there was contact made by Steinauer, so there was contact. There's the contact. Now, as he goes down, he's got the ball. Now he's made contact. He still has the ball. He still has the ball. There's the ball coming loose. That's a catch.
How is that not a catch?
I don't know.
Stampeders are furious. 29 seconds. It's a 3rd down and 8 situation now. For Henry Burris, 6 receivers. Argos drop 9 into coverage. Burris throwing for the end zone. Incomplete.
Well, Kenyon Rambo. Absolutely, Mark. Turning all the way around in tight coverage from Antonius Bonner, trying to make a circus catch deep in the end zone.
A controversial finish here in Toronto tonight.
Well, let's take another look at that play as we see Henry Burris going deep, and you see Kenyon turning all the way around, rotating almost 360 degrees, trying to go back and make a circus catch over the left shoulder, just can't squeeze the ball.
A great effort by Rambo, and Tom Higgins, the good sportsman that he is, keeping his emotions in check here tonight, but you enough to know that on that Stampeder bench, they're wondering what happened on that call. 23 seconds and counting as the Argos try to run out the final seconds of this football game.
Well, Toronto will be in first place with Montreal. And I believe they can clinch a playoff spot if Edmonton loses to Saskatchewan.
That is indeed the situation. The Stampeders will fall to 9-6 in a game back of BC in the West, and BC with a game at hand. And the Argos, as the clock ticks to 0, have their 8th victory of the season to move back into a first place tie in the East with the Montreal Alouettes. Pinball and Tom Higgins with the coach's handshake at the conclusion of this football game, but a lot of people wondering about the way it ended.
Well, it's just a hard-fought game. We talked about field goals in the first half. Second half, we saw some touchdowns. We saw a little bit of what Ricky Williams can do. Unfortunately, he got injured, but Damon Allen, he came back and did what he had to do to lead this team to victory. And that's why Toronto's now tied for first place.
The Argos win by a converted touchdown at home.
George Black, the CFL's lead referee, has just told our Brenda Irving that the reason that the catch did not count from Ron Johnson was that he did not have possession long enough. I don't know about that. Not at all. Warrior of the game. And last week, Eric Englund on the Joffrey Reynolds 62-yard screen pass that really broke the game open. He was the guy who went from one end of the field to the other and made the touchdown-saving tackle at the time for the Argonauts. Tonight, he is your Warrior. His 80-yard interception return for a touchdown, the huge momentum changer as Toronto wins this one.
Warrior of the game, brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra.
Well, Mark and Chris are backed by Sean Millington, Greg Frères, and Darren Flutie, who all say that that was a catch. And it should be pointed out that Sean Millington was the only guy who picked this game properly. Bad non-call at the end there. Toronto now tied with Montreal for first in the East. Calgary 2 back of BC in the loss column for first in the West. Still to come tonight. Don't forget there's a third game, Edmonton versus Saskatchewan. That's on TSN. Coming up, Hockeyville, the game tomorrow night from Salmon River, Nova Scotia. Check your local listings, 7 p.m. Triple header, Hockey Night in Canada, Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, Detroit, depends on where you are in the country, followed by Calgary, Edmonton. That's Thursday night. And then our double header, Thanksgiving Monday, Saskatchewan, Montreal, Edmonton, Toronto, next Monday afternoon. Nick Lewis didn't have a lot of reason to celebrate as the Argos take a thrilling victory.